We have returned from closed session. Thank you all for your patience. And again, it is a pleasure for us to be here, your Board of Trustees, to be at the Indio campus. What a beautiful campus, and what a beautiful day to be here. So thank you all so much for all of those folks that put this meeting together here today, and for all the work that was involved. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. We do have some reportable action from closed session, which I will now read. In closed session, a motion was made by Vice Chair Broughton, seconded by Trustee Stefan, to authorize the Superintendent President to negotiate salary and benefits with candidates for 3 leadership positions: Dean, School of Mathematics and Sciences; Dean, School of Social Sciences and Arts; Dean of Counseling. The motion carried with 4 members voting in favor and 0 members voting against the motion. The motion carried 4-0. We now return to Agenda 5, which is public updates. President Kinnaman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Am I on? Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. If the board is comfortable, I'd like to move up a couple of items that we have for presentations later as part of my public updates, because they really are of interest, I think, to broader constituents that may be watching this meeting earlier on or listening or currently present. One would be another successful academic year, 2016-17, and the other is the budget update. Okay. All right, so we're going to, no objections? Okay, great.
No objections.
All right, let's go ahead and start with this past year, and I'm going to see if I can find my clicker.
I just took it. Sorry. I thought
Oh, you did?
Budget update, so I'll return it.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, thank you.
Is this the one we're doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We don't have that.
All right, thank you. So every year at this time, we provide to the board information and accomplishments of the prior year. And I know we leave these events with me having left some people out and some things out, because there's so many things that we are doing. So this year we've had an amazing year, and I've chosen to highlight some of the really big things, which means I've left out more than I've included. However, these big things are the culmination of months, sometimes years, of hard work, and the illustration of many of the small things we do every day. So first of all, I think the volume's much better, thank you. First of all, we have our largest number of student graduates in COD history, and you can see we had that occur in 2015. There was 1,067. 2016, again, we had 908 degrees, 229 certificates for 1,137. And then this year, we're looking at going to 1,220.
Wow.
That's 1,038 degrees. It's pretty cool. So our largest graduating class, so next Friday, we'll be awarding degrees and credentials to these 1,220 students. And, well, at this point, it looks like 490 of those students will be walking across the stage.
Wow.
So we look forward to seeing them there. So this past year, we were the recipient of the Chancellor's Award for EDGE. It's the 2016 Chancellor Student Success Award for our EDGE program. One of 2 awards that was given by the Chancellor's Office to programs that succeed in supporting students as they achieve their higher education goals. Our EDGE program was created to increase student success and combat the challenges students face in completing college-level math and English. In addition, the program offers our students registration counseling, transfer workshops, career information, and financial aid assistance. And again, I want to thank Dr. Neary and her team. I don't know if Katie's here as well, Katie Chartier, and all the folks in student services and the faculty that have worked with these students and with this program.
Before graduating from high school, my family hit a tough financial struggle, personal struggle as well. I was accepted into Cal State Fullerton, however, after that ordeal, Cal State Upper University was not an option for my family, so a community college was my second option. And after taking the assessment testing, I got my scores. I did not do so well in the math portion. That's when the edge came along. That's when they invited me over and say, hey, you know what, your math scores aren't so good. When I went into edge, my whole view, my whole perspective in the community college or in the college level has changed. The edge professors teach you about their personal experience or what they see in the assessment test. So they will align their lectures about what will be on the assessment test. So what they provided was, laptops. They provided really cool, extensive, and thorough student development lectures regarding financial aid, regarding admissions and records, and it taught me about what college professor was going to deal with, the classroom setting, the student life. And then with that, I decided to decided to be in student government because they taught me about the different clubs and organizations. And I became an independent senator, but I also became an officer of academic affairs. So with that being said, I actually was the delegate as a student representative, student voice. My math instructor was Professor Felix, and then my English faculty was Professor Murphy. I will never forget their names. They led me to a countless amount of opportunities.
All right. The college is continuing to utilize funding from the Measure B bond, which passed in 2004. This academic year, we opened the Desert Hot Springs campus in October, with additional expansion on the way, added modular units on our Indio campus, where we're at today, and are planning to double the permanent structure for fall 2020 classes. We also finalized three bond restructures and refinancing, saving our community a total of almost $250 million. And again, I want to thank our Vice President, Lisa Howe, for her leadership on that, and her team for that tremendous savings to our community. In response to the needs of our students and our community, the Career and Workforce Solutions Center opened in fall 2016. The college's Career and Workforce Solutions Center provides students with the tools and skills necessary to help them in their career development and helps Coachella Valley businesses hire a skilled workforce. The center held a grand opening for the community in April. More than 21,000 current and past students have utilized the career services, and over the past year, nearly 5,600 new people have used the center. More than 850 new jobs have been posted, and the center has made contact with nearly 1,250 employers.
Growing up in my early education, I felt I didn't get the support that I needed. Once I got here to College of the Desert, that changed completely, from the counselors to the teachers and peers, which were really helpful and helped me guide my path to achieve more and strive for success.
The Career and Workforce Solutions Center is really a one-stop shop for students. So whether students are looking for full-time or part-time jobs or internships, the CUD Job Hub is a great resource.
At the Workforce Center, I got enrolled for the work experience class, which really changed the way I looked at completing my education and looking ahead at my future career.
So for students like Emmanuel, they're able to take work study, which is working for the college, earning college credit at the same time, making measurable learning objectives where they can use those skills later service all at the same time. A year ago, the center was just a dream, and thanks to the COD Foundation and its donors, we can now see that it's come to life and really help change students' lives. Students have given such positive feedback, they're so excited. They're very thankful for the services we provide.
I decided I wanted to go into psychology. I want to work with young adults. I want to be able to give them that encouragement and the guidance that I wish I had when I was their age.
All right, our educational master plan. We finalized our strategic plan and we began work on our educational master plan, both of which will be driving forces of how we utilize Measure CC bonds. Oh yes, we passed that bond, Measure CC. I want to thank Dr. Ralston and her team, Mary Lou and Kristen Smith, Donna Green, Dr. Courtney Dowsett, Douglas Redmond, Robert Pellenberg, Dr. Dozier, Dr. Butler, Dr. Mole, Amanda Phillips, I'm going to miss somebody I know, Dr. Hall, Dean Pappas, and Dr. Martinez for all their leadership on developing this plan. The group collected data using internal and external environmental scans. Community forums were held in Indio and Palm Desert. Surveys were conducted with our own faculty, staff, and students, and we also used meetings and surveys to collect information across campus and other parts of the community via our website. It has been reviewed by the Academic Senate and the College Planning Council, and today will be presented to the Board of Trustees for approval. Student awards. The Desert Theater League announced its Desert Stars Awards for 2015-16. Congratulations to our COD Award winners. And special shout to our fabulous musical director, Dr. Darlene Romano. College of the Desert won the following awards for the musical Victoria. Outstanding Production, Musical Opera Pageant. Outstanding Musical Director of Musical Opera Pageant.
Well, that's great.
For our professional Darlene Romano. The Michelle Gaines Award for Outstanding Choreographer. Outstanding Lead Actress in a Musical Opera Pageant, Chelsea Klein. The Ron Ham Award for Outstanding Hair and Makeup Design, Professor Linda Sheps. Additionally, KCOD won 13 National Golden Microphone Awards in March 2017. Again this year, the foundation supported the students' trip to New York City to attend the award ceremony and meet students from other radio stations around the world. In August, Rick and Rosine Supple donated their station KPTR-AM to COD, and this will soon enable the radio station to air throughout the desert.
Hooray.
Neat, huh? Student athletes and coaches excel. Every year we have a full schedule of student athletic events. Additionally, our athletics programs help many of our students to further their education at four-year institutions. Some of the highlights include in football, the team won the American Division Mountain Conference title in back-to-back seasons, with head coach Jack Steptoe earning Conference Coach of the Year, and student athletes Anthony Ellis and Corey Dalton were named First Team All-State. Women's soccer players Sydney Hannibal and Brittany Vargas were named to the 2016 CCCAA Academic All-State Team. Men's soccer players Mustaka Kasuji, Lucas M. Rezende, got it? Almost messed that one up. Were named to the 2016 CCCAA Academic All-State Team. In women's golf, Li Chi finished 8th at the CCCAA State Finals. Women's basketball player Lexi Jackson finished 9th in the state with 57 total defensive blocks on the season. Men's tennis players Dmitry Vakovic, Jacob Dvorkin made it to the CCCAA State Finals. And in men's golf, the team again won Pacific Coast Athletic Conference title And Andrew Perez, in his first year as the golf coach, earned Conference Coach of the Year honors. All right, accreditation self-study. One of the most important processes we complete at our institution is, of course, our accreditation self-study. It gives us an opportunity to evaluate our own performance and assess how we're doing and look at our support services that we provide to our students. I want to thank Dr. Neary and Professor Bert Batanga, who chaired our self-study team, and their work group consisted of a lot of people, and I'm going to run through it real quick. Let's see here. Dan Martinez, Dr. Dowsett, Leslie Young, Wendy Sanders, Pamela Ralston, Gary Ginter, Donna Green, Amanda Phillips, Sandra Hoff, Marianne Gallardi, Dr. Chris Jones-Cage, Lisa Howe, Scott Ventura, Sherry Willis, Dr. Kim Dozier, Dr. Carl Farmer, Kristen Smith, and Trustee Bonnie Stephan, and probably some others that I missed. So again, I want to thank Dr. Neary and Bert for their work on this.
Since I was a little girl, I always wanted to become a law enforcement officer. I come from a domestic violence home, and my dad was very abusive towards my mom. So that's when I had a law enforcement officer. For me, I looked up to the officer because, I was safe. I knew I was safe. My life was rough. My brother started getting into games, but then that's when I got a little rebellious, and I hanged with the wrong crowd, and I got placed in probation, and that's when I knew this wasn't for me, and my mom decided to move to India. I finished high school. I did go to college in the desert, and I stopped going. That's when I had my daughter. My daughter, her name's Elia Escobar, and she's now 5 years old. She's the reason why I actually came back to school.
All right, Measure CC. Again, we can't thank our community enough for the passage of Measure CC. This is $577.8 million investment in our college. It will pave the way for the future of this community and us being able to provide for all the educational needs of the Valley. Our expansion plans that will happen include Palm Springs, hospitality, culinary, film, DHS, Mechathermal, and additional expansion as we identify needs. We're getting close to the end of this, I promise, but there's just a couple more
that's
really great
wonderful.
things that I hope we can celebrate. And this one here is Beyond Observation, Charting the Dreams by the Stars. Evo Kudernats of Palm Desert generously agreed to donate $725,000 to College of the Desert for the purchase of a plane wave instruments 1 meter PW 1000 telescope and Astrohaven dome for the observatory project. That means something to somebody.
Telescope, we got that.
That's a lot of words. In July 2016, he also donated a plane wave instruments CDK-17 observatory telescope and made a $20,000 cash donation to help fund the observatory. Recently, on May 5th, our new astronomy club held the community star party, which drew about 200 students, faculty, staff, and community members to check out Jupiter, Galilean moons, and our moon. Again, I want to thank our interim dean, Karen Taper, and the faculty advisor, Dr. El Shafi, for helping to organize this fun and educational event.
Great, yeah.
Roadrunner Farms.
Oh, boy.
For some time now, we've had the dream of Roadrunner Farms.
Don't we wish that were
As a first step, we invited agricultural business and partners to join us at our Mechathermal campus to begin the dialogue to make the dream a reality. With more than 70 businesses, students, faculty, and staff in attendance, we began that discussion in a big way. And I want to thank our Dean, Zarel Becker, for organizing that event.
Yes.
Partnership with Fine Food Bank. At College of the Desert, we know that about 3/4 of our students qualify for financial aid. We often think of the financial hardships of attending college, and we talk about things like fees and books and transportation, but some of our students struggle to meet their most basic needs. We celebrate the partnership with Fine Food Bank that helped us serve hundreds of students on our campus. And I'd like to thank our Office of Student Life for providing such wonderful student services to our students on a regular basis, and also looking for new ways to meet needs of our students. Just a couple weeks ago, most of us around the table up here, many of us around the table up here, had an opportunity and privilege of staffing this distribution line, and I was really humbled by the generosity of the community and the gratitude of our students. It was a really warm experience. Thank you to everybody that's participating. The pledge. 1 year tuition free at COD. This is another important way we are supporting our students, and the pledge was introduced at the college's second annual State of the College event on January 27th. We're expecting about 1,000 new full-time students to take advantage of our 1 year free tuition starting this fall. It's really going to be in excess of 1,000, but I'm holding back a little bit until we get the hard numbers. Probably significantly. We're among the fastest growing community colleges in California, and the pledge could double the amount of new students we'd otherwise expect this fall. As the saying goes, it takes a village. When I say thank you to everyone on campus, it really is everyone. Every staff member, faculty, and administrator had a hand in making the pledge a reality for fall 2017. Again, we announced it in January. As we move forward, our goal is to make this opportunity available to subsequent COD students. I've also got some data that I was sharing with the trustees. I made it all the way down except to our student trustee and to Trustee Yon.
Pass this down to
And
Trustee
this is
Johnson.
just a portion of the data that I want you to be aware of, that represents all of our unified school districts and other school districts where students are coming to participate with the pledge. On this, it shows 889 students. We have in excess of that, but many of the students did not have a school that was identified on their application materials. But again, you can get kind of a sense of the distribution. 25% Coachella Valley Unified, 51% Desert Sands Unified, 23% Palm Springs Unified, and other school districts approximately 2%. There's a map with a scattergram, and you can see how far down into the district where Trustee Broughton resides, and often talks about that. You can see that there's students
You
that
found West Shores. Thank
we
you so
did,
much.
we did. So it's, I think, a good illustration to understand the reach of the college. All right, here we go. Again, I want to thank the faculty and staff. Everybody's doing their best, regardless of what their job title is. And I want to continue to encourage our students to follow their dreams. We're going to try to help in any way we can for you to live those dreams. And at this time of year, it's easy to become overwhelmed with the day-to-day task as we gallop to the completion of another academic year, both for our students and for all of our employees. I encourage everyone to stop for a moment, take a breath, look around, remember what we do, because we do change lives. That concludes that portion of the presentation.
Thank you so much. That was excellent.
Thank you. At this time, if we could move to the budget presentation, we'll try to get that hammered out. See what, oh, I'm sorry. You want me to do it?
No?
Okay.
See what I'm saying. I promise to be brief. Recently, Governor Brown has released the May Revise, which he does each and every year. This year, it came to us just late last week, and we have been crunching those numbers to find out what it means for us. And so we have a slightly brighter picture for community colleges. We shared the information at the January budget, and at that time, it looked like status quo. There were many warnings of the recession is coming, growth might be reduced, the fiscal picture looks less vibrant than in the past. The LAO came out at that time with a contradiction on the governor and said, no, it's going to be better. And we've learned that this is a flip-flop, that the LAO used to be the conservative group and the governor used to be the robust, let's shoot for the stars group. The LAO turned out to be correct. So we are now all on the same page, which is very good news. We're working with the same numbers. So the governor returns to his theme, though, of fiscal prudence. So what does that mean? There is a recession coming. It's a known. It's just a matter of when. Will it be tomorrow? Most likely not, but it is in our future, and we should be prudent planning for it. Another one of his themes is forecasts continue to predict growth. Well, that's a bit of a contradiction when you're telling us there's a recession coming, but yet our finances predict continued growth. And what growth means is more money for community colleges, more money for the state in general. So we're taking that message with careful thought. We're going to use the numbers that are included in the May Revise to project and adopt our tentative budget in June, but we are going to be cautious. So what it means to us, or what it means to California, $250 million more for community colleges. Base allocation increase of $184 million. Now this is statewide for community colleges. That is significantly increased from the January projection. Our COLA increased slightly from 1.48 to 1.56%, a slight decrease in growth. So that is concerning to me because we are, as we said, one of the fastest growing colleges in the state of California. So what does this decrease in growth mean? It equates approximately 8,600 FTES. So that is statewide. So that is what is projected at the present time. This is the May Revise. Things could change, things likely will change, but right now that's what they're projecting. The reason the decrease in growth is because many community colleges are not as fortunate as we are, as they are not growing. So they shifted the money over to the base, which it provides money for everyone as opposed to the colleges that are just growing. $28.5 million for declining enrollment, which is stability funding, $23.6 million in increased unused enrollment growth. What does that mean? Unused enrollment growth, but they're reducing it. So I'm off to a conference Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, and I'll come back and be able to tell you exactly what that means. A decrease of $24.8 million to offset increase in student enrollment fees. So that is concerning. We're talking about free tuition for a year, free tuition and fees for a year, but there's a decrease at the state level, so we need to explore that a little bit further. So deferred maintenance and instructional equipment, this has been an item that continues to fluctuate. So the January budget included some dollars there, and then we were surprised to find that there was a large increase up to $135.8 million with no match requirement, which we've been fortunate enough for the last 3 to 4 years. However, the caveat, which we just learned on Wednesday or Tuesday during a phone call, only $10.8 million will be provided to us in 17-18. Now, we've just had our prioritization, and we have just funded all our highest priority equipment items. This is the item that pays for that. So there's a little bit more to that. The good news is we have carryover funding from last year, and I'm confident that we will be able to still satisfy the needs of our college and process those highest request items. Here's our budget calendar. As you note, the budget May revise was presented on May 11th. We have a budget subcommittee coming up on the 22nd. We anticipate our tentative budget adoption in June, and with the following state budget adoption sometime before July 1st, and a final budget adoption for the college here on September 15th. So our tentative budget is currently under construction. We have some pretty good numbers at this time, but we want to make sure that we are calculating all of the revenues correctly and projecting all of our expenditures correctly, and we will be providing that in the upcoming weeks, and it will be available online as well as sent out to our budget subcommittee and then presented to you for adoption in June. And that is what I have, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, I get my mic there. Thank you. I would like to, could you back up to that last slide? So we are under construction. Of course, we're continue this time of the year to get read the tea leaves out of Sacramento and try to make our best decisions and projections based on what we're hearing there, and also from our colleagues up and down the state to get a sense on how much growth funds are available and will be utilized by districts. And in that backdrop, we established criteria for us to build our budget. Of course, some of the criteria that we establish and in light of our strategy with enrollment management and expansion throughout the valley is increasing our offerings to students. So as we're building this tentative budget, the budget will have that as a tenet in the criteria for us to be able to increase those offerings. Also, a tenet in the budget will be for us to actually implement our educational master plan and our facilities master plan. In addition, there are some other tenets that are as important, but maybe not as macro regarding planning and long term, is our commitment to our employees. In our budget, we will build for step and column increases. We anticipate that approximately in excess of half of our in excess of half of our faculty will be eligible for a 4% step and column increase in the coming years. So that needs to be incorporated in the budget. In addition, our classified staff, approximately 152 of the 236 staff would be eligible for a 5%, potentially be eligible for a 5% increase in step and column. So that will be incorporated into the budget as part of the criteria. And in addition, with our leadership, we're looking at about 41 of 61 leadership positions being eligible for about a 4% in step and column. So there are things that will be in the budget that are just based on what we've currently committed to. But in addition to that, what we're committed to becoming as an institution as we move forward and making sure that we've got resources to implement what we've said that we would like to do as we move ahead. So I don't know if there's any questions of Lisa or Vice President Howell.
Who's on the budget subcommittee?
Pardon?
Who is on the budget subcommittee?
I took that slide out. I apologize. We have a large group of individuals, including myself, all the VPs. We have constituent from all of the constituent groups, so faculty members, our bargaining unit members, classified has representation. So I think we're about, I'm going to guess, 12 to 15 strong But the names are escaping me at the present time. So,
Okay,
thanks.
all right. We'll get you that information.
Okay.
Is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
More to come.
Yes, more to come. That concludes my public updates.
Thank you for the presentations. We now move on to public comments. Persons who wish to speak to the board on any item may do so at this time. There is a limit of 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic unless further time is granted by the board. Your comments will be timed, and you will be asked to stop speaking when the timer sounds. Please understand the board welcomes your comments but are not able to wholly respond to those comments. And I have several requests here to speak. Carlos, point of clarification, sir. We have Lado Jimenez who has requested to speak on an item that is a consent item. So will that item will need to be pulled off the agenda by a board member in order, or how will that work?
So it's probably the best practice is to pull it in the event that public comment warrants some discussion. Otherwise, you would not be able to discuss that item. You would be able to hear the public comment but not discuss it.
Okay.
So it would just be based on what your preference is.
Okay, all right. So we will hold that item until, okay. We move on to Ruth Nolan. Also, for those of you who just walked in, if you need some, please see Julia if you'd like to speak.
Should I sit down?
Please.
Okay. Hi, I'm Professor Ruth Nolan, Communication Division.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm extremely excited to present to the board and the college community the new issue of the Solstice Literary Magazine. Everything in this book comes from our students and faculty support. And this year's Solstice, more than ever, is just so powerful, so urgent, and it just showcases how dedicated our students are across the valley at our different campuses to achieving literacy and sharing their stories. This year's issue is dedicated to Susan Smith Evans, who passed away recently. And Susan and Ron, her husband, were extremely instrumental in helping me get the Solstice magazine started in 2006. I would just like to read a little excerpt from one of the excellent pieces in here. Carlos Rodriguez, Crops of a City. I was born in Indio, California, and have lived in the cities of Coachella and Thermal all my life. I grew up around the thought that hard work and dedication is the only way you can succeed in life. I was raised in an environment with parents who always woke up at 4 a.m. and worked in the crop fields until noon. My parents aren't strangers to the labor that picking fruit or preparing plants for the growing season brings. I always remember when I would see them get home from work covered in dirt and their strength drained out of them. My parents always wanted to introduce their line of work to me, and that opportunity came when I was 16 years old, and they decided to take me to work to learn for the first time. I was excited to learn from my parents and find out firsthand what working in the grape harvest felt like. From the vines and trees to the tables we eat, agriculture in our region brings food to millions of people around the world. Each one of us has tasted that wonderful mouth-watering flavor of fruits and vegetables, but not all of us have had the first-hand experiencing, a close-up view of the growing processes of their food. Our home, the Coachella Valley, is known worldwide for its famous music festival, sports and outstanding weather in the winter, but in the Eastern Valley, the land is overtaken by crop fields and packaging plants. I got 1 minute. So I just really, it's from my heart and my years of working with our incredible students, College of the Desert, that I present the Solstice magazine, and just so extremely proud of the students on our campus, because this gives them the opportunity to have their voices and stories shared on our campus and beyond, and to show when they're applying for scholarships and transfer that they have been part of a bigger literary community. So thank you to the board and all the support from the college for the magazine.
Thank
Any
you so much.
questions or
Comments from the board?
we have 20 seconds. Hurry.
Okay.
So hopefully you'll see some names you recognize in here among our campus. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I just got smacked for that one. And I apologize if I mispronounce this, Tubey Durrani? Did I pronounce it? Okay.
Madam Chair, Honorable Trustees, Dr. Kinnaman, Ms. Howell, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to introduce myself before I start saying what I came here for. The name is Tuba Durrani. It's written with an E but pronounced with an A. I have been a merchant at the College of the Desert Street Fair from 2005-06 up to the end of fall season 2016. And I was planning to come earlier, but every time I missed the date for the trustee meeting. I wanted to congratulate you on the decision of changing the bold decision that you took to change the members of the board of the Alumni Association. Ms. Howell and her team are doing an excellent job there. The merchants that are present there at the moment see the difference between before and after the members that have been changed. Dr. Kinnaman, I need to congratulate you on the choice of the appointment of the members of the board of the Alumni Association. The only thing that I want to point out here is that I'd like to give a little example. Let's just say that we have one of those old-fashioned wells where you kind of pull water out with a bucket, and something falls in it and drowns in it. Let's say a bird fell in it and drowned in it. To clean the water, we'd have to first take out the dead bird and then clean the water. Similar situation with the street fair is that unless we don't clean up the management and the staff, I don't think that we will be very successful in trying to turn the street fair around. The street fair plays a very important role in the community. It not only provides livelihood for the merchants, but also provides employment for hundreds of people there. To build that strong street fair back to what it used to be a few years ago, it is important that we make sure that the management and the staff are on board and with running of the day-to-day matters of the street fair. It's as important as the changing of the members of the board were. And I'm sure that Dr. Kinnaman and Ms. Howell will give that a little thought and proceed from here. But that's all that I had to say. Again, I wanted to thank you and congratulate you on the bold decision that you took.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Karlenberg. And there are some handouts here. Have you received a copy, Mr. President Kinnaman? Okay.
Trustee Wilson, Trustee Broughton, Trustee Steffen, Trustee Yant, Trustee Estada, President Kinnaman. Hello. I am Robert Pellenberg, an adjunct professor at COD, and have taught for over 12 years at College of the Desert. My teaching opportunities include the earth sciences and introduction to oceanography, and in the past, instructor for chemistry laboratory and substitute for a variety of chemistry courses. Further, I am very active in the COD MESA program and have served our STEM students for over 6 years. Importantly, I work closely with STEM students on a daily basis, mentoring and advising, and over the MESA internship program, I have mentored groups of students engaged in original research projects. During my tenure at COD, I am proud to have taught over 2,000 students in my various classes, especially in the summer sessions in Indio. I have taught at the old EVC location on Monroe Street and at the facility in which we meet today. Indeed, one summer a water pipe burst in the ceiling of the third-floor science room, causing a great flood and yielding a great story. Further, while at COD, I have restarted the college radio station KCOD, designed, obtained approval for, and implemented a course in oceanography at COD. In both oceanography and earth science classes, I have provided hands-on, extensive laboratory experiences for all the students in both classes. Served as adjunct senator on the Academic Senate and as a member of the Senate Executive Committee. Served as a member of many science faculty hiring committees. This past semester alone, I served on hiring committees for biology, on very short notice, chemistry, and geology. Been nominated for Faculty of the Year for 2017, a first for an adjunct teaching staff. Worked to support the acquisition of our new 17-inch telescope and provided input as to how we can effectively use the remarkable abilities of what is a research-grade instrument. Specifically, I have prepared several white papers for the COD Science Department on how best to utilize the new telescope. I look forward to seeing the observatory up and running at the Mecca Thermal Campus. At this point in time, I have no assigned coursework for either the summer session or for the coming fall semester. Thus, I stand ready to assist in bringing science to the Eastern Valley at either the Indio campus, the expanding Mecca Thermal Campus, or both as opportunities develop. In closing, I state without hesitation that it has been a privilege and a distinct honor to work with the students at College of the Desert and support them in their educational careers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Julie Roseno. Did I pronounce that right?
Close, Resigno.
Okay,
Resigno,
welcome. And we have a handout?
yes.
Okay, hold on, please. Let me make sure everybody gets this. Who, me? You. I remember that one. You may begin, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Julie Resigno, and I'm an adjunct faculty at College of the Desert. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Montez lawsuit, and in the event you have not heard, the district, Dean Maldonado, and myself prevailed in a jury trial that, although there can be still an appeal. My purpose today is to make the board aware of an internal process that has failed a teacher with a hope it be corrected for all future employees. This lack of process created a great deal of personal stress, unpaid hours in depositions, trial preparation, and $6,000 worth of expenses. I do not want another district employee to experience this. I love my students, and 99.5% of them would not resort to a frivolous lawsuit to settle a dispute. But what I went through will repeat itself. This case began on August 2015, and the jury trial was completed on April 28, 2017. The district represented to me and the adjunct union that the school would be representing me and any liability. This initial position was accepted by the union, and they walked away assuming I was being assisted by the district. On May of 2016, I received a letter from the district insurance company making me aware that I was at risk by limiting my coverage. September 2016, it became apparent that my personal assets were at risk. with the wrong verdict, and I obtained a personal attorney to review the case. On January 30th, 2017, my personal attorney approached the attorney given to me by the district, Ms. Gare, requesting an indemnification to waive the conflict of interest. Ms. Gare approached SWAC, which promptly turned the request down. Ms. Gare then approached the district. On February 17th, the district responded with an email agreeing to an indemnification. I then instructed my personal attorney to draw up the agreement. On March 15th, the agreement was then sent to Ms. Gare, who promptly forwarded it to the HR department on March 31st. There were many follow-up emails, but a signed document was not received. On April 10th, I was assured that the signed agreement was coming, and the risk manager apologized for the delay. It never was, and we never received any communication that would not be forwarded to us. On April 19th, the week before the trial, I decided to move forward with this trial and not delay it any further. On April 26th, I was now putting all my assets on the line. I had no input on settlement unless I offered up my own cash. I was being sued for simply doing my job, and yet no one contacted me from the district. It was scary, risky, and I felt deceived. I spent several $1,000s preparing and following up on a document that apparently nobody intended to sign. If the district believed I was guilty, they should not have had their attorney represent me. And if they believed I was not guilty, there should have been no problem giving me a signed indemnification agreement. Can I please complete what I'm saying? I'm almost done.
All right.
All district personnel are at risk for being in the same situation. The district should be transparent with all its employees and the risks they take, especially from a frivolous lawsuit. I was fortunate to have Ms. Gare representing me in a jury that could see through Mr. Montez's false claims. There will be a next time, and the next employee may not be as fortunate, nor may not have the resources to protect themselves. A transparent process needs to be established for all district employees involved in a district lawsuit. If the district legal strategy requires one attorney for all parties in the lawsuit, then an indemnification must be given to the employee. Otherwise, the school must develop an alternative legal strategy, such as a settlement. No district employee should have to risk a lifetime of wealth accumulation for simply doing their job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other public comments at this time? Please come forward. This is your time. Okay, seeing none, we move on to item number 7, introduction of staff members. Dr. Kinnaman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I'd like to introduce Christy Camacho, full-time faculty in English. Christy is a graduate of California State University, San Bernardino, and holds an MA in English from National University. With over 10 years of experience in teaching, her recent course assignments include teaching English composition courses with College of the Desert, Copper Mountain College, and the University of Redlands. In addition to her work in the classroom, Christy has been a respected contributor and moderator for the College English Association Conference and the American Literature Association Conference. She also served as volunteer for the Association of Writers and Writing Programs Conference in Los Angeles. Hi.
Hello, President Killman. I would like to say thank you for this opportunity to work with College of the Desert and to be more involved with our students and their educational journey. I am looking forward to many dedicated years here, and I would like to thank the board, President Killman, Dr. Ralston, and Dean Pappas for giving me this opportunity.
Great. And you're going to stay up here while we introduce everybody, okay? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Allison Earhart Bolzay, full-time faculty English as a second language in non-credit. Allison grew up in Los Angeles, California, and attended the University of Southern California, where she graduated with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration. Since 2010, Allison has been working at College of the Desert as an adjunct ESLN professor and as an English instructor in the International Department's Intensive English Academy. Allison has served as lead instructor in both the ESLN and IEA programs. She feels her success as a teacher lies in her pedagogical practices of thought-provoking, entertaining lessons and her identification with diverse cultures. Hi.
Hi. I'd like to also say thank you, and I feel honored to further my career here at College of the Desert as a full-time faculty member, and I look forward to serving our community and the wonderful students that we have here in the Coachella Valley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Robert St. Juliana, Director of the Career and Workforce Solutions Center. Robert joins the college with 8 years of experience in higher education. Most recently, Robert worked as a Director of Career Services for a private college in Indianapolis, Indiana, where it was much colder. Robert combines his experience in career services with his education, holding a bachelor's degree in economics as well as an MBA with a concentration in entrepreneurship and small business. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you. Thank
Do
you.
you want to say a few words?
Sure. Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and ready to get to work and take the CWSC to really where it can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Next, we have Peter Ali, Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Department. Originally from Trinidad, Peter came to the United States and served as a Marine in Desert Storm and was honorably discharged and worked as an Indio police officer for 5 years before coming to College of the Desert. Peter holds an AA in Business Administration. Welcome, Peter.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say thank you very much. And I really owe a lot to my boss, Mr. Nakamura, who decided to take a chance with me. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you for giving me the chance.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Next, we have Lawrence Ponce, Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Department. Lawrence comes to us from the Transportation and Security Administration, where he has worked along with working as a permanent part-time officer here at our Public Safety Department. Lawrence has a BA from Loyola University. Well, my tongue's not working there. And a master's from Redlands, and is a native of the Valley. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to start the next chapter of my career.
Welcome.
Great. Are you doing a picture of it? Okay, awesome.
that
You guys
it?
want to get a picture?
You guys want to gather back there?
That's all?
Yeah, that's it.
Do you want us to stand up, or what do you want us to do?
Actually, it's a little tougher in this room. Isn't it?
Yeah.
There's not much room back there.
Let's see. Maybe I can sneak in here to
Have a good background picture.
Mission Impossible style.
Be careful.
Okay, all the way around the chalkboard.
You want us to stand up? You want us to?
You want us to sit down, remain
You
seated?
guys, if you're sitting, that's great.
Okay, are we
Thank you
close
so much.
enough together?
Mike's down.
Mike's down.
Coming up, we need to get over here.
Oh, Isaiah.
Just, you can sit, or you can stand really quick. Okay, ready? We're gonna take a few, just make sure that nobody's blinking. Cheese, cheese. COD, everybody say COD.
COD.
Roadrunners.
Roadrunners.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Woo-hoo. Was that Trustee Brown? It was wonderful to what?
It's wonderful to have some
New
staff,
faces.
New faces.
Yes.
Glad you think about those things.
All right.
I will echo Trustee Broughton's comments. It's wonderful to have some new faces, so welcome. We move on to item number 8, which is minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the regular meeting minutes of March 17, 2017?
No, but thank you, Julia.
Okay. If there are no corrections to the minutes, they stand approved. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the regular meeting minutes of April the 21st, 2017? Okay, if there are no corrections to the minutes, they too stand approved.
She's caught up.
You're caught up now. We now move on to item 9, reports. And the first one is Ascot.
Good morning, Madam Chair and board members. I will be giving the ASCOT report. So this month of May was very interesting and very busy. We went to General Assembly. The ASCOT Student Center got to go to General Assembly, which was my first time going, and it was a real honor to go. I was able to learn a lot about Robert's Rule of Orders and the Brown Act, and I see it got me more prepared for the next semester, which I will be serving in the ASCOT Student Senate. And it was a real honor to see a bunch of community colleges come together and pass resolutions and see the pros and the cons, and then, unfortunately hear the same, basically the same arguments said over and over again. So that was a real, it was interesting. So other than that, we also had a fine food bank come this month, and it was really, I loved it. Sadly, I wasn't able to attend, but I got to see that there was interesting food choices. There was coconuts, there was corn and potatoes. So I also, thanks to Julia, I got a bag. So I'd like to thank Julia for that. We also are closing, we just had our elections, and I'll let student trustee Isaiah Estrada give you the details, but I would like to say that it's been, I think, on behalf of ASCOT, it's been a real honor to serve the students, and hopefully we represented them as best as we could, and hopefully this upcoming semester we'll be able to represent them equally and represent the community the best that we can. So that's my report for the month of May. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have CSEA, Lauro Jimenez. Good morning.
Good morning. And no, I'm not going to read all of that. Yes. Good morning, Board of Trustees, administration, faculty, staff, students, esteemed guests. Thank you to Trustee Aurora Wilson and Trustee Fred Yon for attending our CSEA Spring Luncheon on May 16th. We received a note from Julia that Dr. Kinnaman was not able to attend, but you were missed. Health and welfare. As of May 1st, the district reports that it contributes to the health and welfare benefits of 159 of our members and 7 of our retirees. We thank the board for your support to offset the savings of $200 a month lost when the district did not move to CBT last year. In October, we will revert to $1,400 as the district contribution. At the same time, CISC has increased premium costs such that the same amount will no longer cover the 80% plan, even with the less expensive dental plan. When we accepted the cap on district contributions, the basis was the high-quality medical and dental plans, the most expensive plans there were at the time, and the best. The district contribution now is just below par with this lowest quality PPO plan. We cannot further reduce plan quality with increased deductibles and copays. The average classified salary cannot afford the increase in premiums combined with the loss of the $200. With CISC, $1,400 does not provide the high quality plans that our staff need. Our members have unanimously directed that we ask the Board of Trustees to provide classified staff with high quality plans at the lowest cost to our members. Since we are at Indio today, I have been asked to deliver to our trustees the 75 signatures that are there before you to that effect. Further, our members have strongly and unanimously supported motion to wait to receive the final rates and plan designs from CBT before making a recommendation between either SISC and CBT, and also before selecting final plan designs. CSEA has expressed concerns that Alliant, our broker, may not be an objective consultant with our best interests in mind when they receive about $50,000 from premiums paid directly from CISC. The financial overview comparing costs between CISC and CBT actually includes a consulting fee as an offset that appears to increase the cost of moving to CBT. This is above and beyond premium costs, and we do not consider that a fair comparison. In the particular comparison, provided the true savings in premium costs for members is in the area of $122,000. We concur with faculty to wait for the final CBT quote and plan designs to make an informed decision and are willing to meet as long as it takes to review and recommend high-quality plans for the lowest costs. And this is kind of what this stack is for. I want to remind all of us that to make an informed decision, it is necessary to spend many an hour and many a meeting to really truly understand what our health benefits are all about. I've been working with the Health and Welfare Committee for many, many years, have attended seminars, and have studied so many things, and it is really something that we really need to consider, and we really need to be able to ask questions. We would like to be able to have CISC present to the Health and Welfare Committee. We would like to have CBT also present, and to have all of those who are involved in making decisions, including administrators, to be able to hear everything directly from the CBT and CISC, and not necessarily just and only through Alliant as a broker. CSEA also asserts that health benefits is a mandatory subject of bargaining. Consequently, the unions are the exclusive representatives for their constituents in this matter, and not College Planning Council. According to our CPC handbook, collective bargaining issues are for information only and not for action. Grievances. CSEA filed a grievance for a violation of our collective bargaining agreement, namely Appendix B. This grievance has now reached the stage of binding arbitration. We selected an arbitrator and had a hearing set for May 5th. As we have since the grievance was first filed, CSEA continued to be willing to meet and reach settlement prior to formal arbitration. This would have saved both CSEA and the district both time and money. We requested necessary and relevant information in prepared briefs, as did the district's legal counsel. After the cancellation deadline, a few days before the hearing, the district and CSEA agreed to meet to discuss a settlement, and we're currently in the process of working with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Adjunct Association, Robert Holmes. Good morning.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Kinnaman, members of the administration, good morning. I would like to start my remarks with an open invitation from our fabulous students. The art portfolio prep class, taught by adjunct instructor Scott Klinger, has organized a one-day student art and music festival to be held in the Hill Building on the main campus on Tuesday, May 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. This event, entitled Solitudium, will feature live music, live painting, a student-curated art exposition, an exhibit by the Architectural Club, and a live KCOD broadcast. Please join us for this wonderful exhibition of student creativity. Again, this is Tuesday, the 23rd, in the Hilb from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. CODA would like to congratulate Vice President Lisa Howe on her excellent financial management and careful budgeting. Great job, Lisa. We note that the most recent revision of Governor Brown's budget retains the allocation of $115 million for guided pathway programs at community colleges. Since I am here to promote the adjunct community,
I would like to point out that two important transfer pathways at COD are associate's degree in both journalism and in film, television, and electronic media were created by the adjuncts. Next, CODA would like to give special recognition to Dr. Killman and his entire staff on the spectacular growth of the college. By the way, we would like to remind the board that the college expansion, as well as the financial success, could never be happening without employing hundreds of adjunct faculties. For example, the adjunct faculty teaches the bulk of the classes at our developing campuses in Indio, Mecca Thermal, and Desert Hot Springs. Adjunct faculty are creating and teaching most of the rapidly expanding list of online courses. By paying these adjunct faculty members significantly less than the full-time faculty for the exact same work, the college has been able to save tremendous amounts of money. And these savings have enabled COD to offer highly competitive salaries when hiring additional administration, new full-time faculty, and the associated additional support staff. We all agree that growth is good and that fiscal responsibility is both admirable and crucial. But we also know that unequal pay for adjuncts is unacceptable. Several months ago, I addressed the board and I stated that the goal of our current contract negotiations was to move the adjunct compensation towards parity over a 6-year period. The situation is this. Based on the parity definition found in the collective bargaining agreement, adjunct faculty are paid approximately $45 per lecture hour less than our full-time faculty. These are the people we work with side by side on a daily basis. As of this moment, negotiations have not signaled any significant change to this glaring shortfall in compensation. We urge the board to address this inequity. On another note, we regret to announce the departure of 2 COD executive board members. Brian Koenig was our association secretary, our secretary, and our treasurer, Dr. Bob Karlenberg, who spoke just moments earlier. Brian has taught COD for 6 years. Dr. Karlenberg has been teaching here for 13 years, was a key member of the Educational Master Plan Task Force, served 4 years on the Academic Senate, and was the first and only adjunct to ever chair a Senate committee. He coordinated the MESA program and was rightly nominated for outstanding faculty just this year. We should be offering congratulations to both of them on a well-deserved retirement. However, unfortunately, both men received unexpected letters informing them that their services are no longer needed. Unlike employees in every other bargaining unit in the district, it appears to adjuncts that we are too easily tossed aside. These 2 examples, among several others, demonstrate the need for rehire rights for adjuncts as suggested in Senate Bill 1379. On February 23rd, CODA submitted a proposal to the district on this issue, but as of today, we've had no response. In fact, to date, only 2 very minor issues have been agreed upon. May I have 1 minute to finish up, please?
Yes.
Our next negotiation session is scheduled for Thursday, May 23rd, but we are concerned that we will not have a contract before the end of the semester. This is the very outcome that we tried to avoid when we repeatedly cautioned the board as long ago as October of the need to begin negotiations. Regrettably, this is not anything new. This is a repeat of exactly what happened to us 3 years ago. Our contract is not likely to be renewed by July. Our question is, given the growth and the success of the college, due in large part to the contribution of hundreds of adjuncts, why is this happening again? CODA is available to negotiate throughout the summer, and we ask the board to support our important, legitimate concerns. We embrace the goals of growth, and we clearly understand the necessity of continued, intelligent financial management of this institution. Over the near term, we will continue to work with the division in order to come up with reasonable outcomes. However, if anything deserves your focused attention at this point in time, it's the adjunct situation. We are your building blocks to continued prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. College of the Desert Faculty Association, Denise Diamond.
My foot fell asleep.
Good morning. This week, the Faculty Association had its end of the year off-campus social, and our honoree was none other than Jack Tapleshay, for 34 years of service. Jack has been a strong supporter of the Faculty Association for over 3 decades. He has been in leadership roles and advocated on behalf of issues important to us. We will definitely miss him, but we know he remains in the community. And personally, I'm going by his office to get his folder on Pledge because I'm thrilled to teach Pledge here at Edge. Sorry, I get my pledges and my edges mixed up. Edge here at Indio at night, okay, in the first session. So I've got to get Jack's folder, so I'm working on that. Health and welfare. In the May 8th meeting of Health and Welfare, I made a motion to postpone the final recommendation of health company provider and plans until the committee had the final quotes from CVT, who was the only provider who responded to the RFP sent by the district. And in good faith, that CODFA would meet in June to look at final quotes, compare, and then have all the data needed to select plans. The motion was seconded by CSEA and passed by majority, with the unions in agreement and the district opposing. The RFP was sent to the following companies and included CIS renewal rate quote for the same plans that we currently have: CVT, VIBA, Aetna, Anthem, Blue Shield, Cigna, and Kaiser. All the companies, except CVT and VIBA, declined to quote. The district told us that VIBA quote came in after the deadline. The committee did not see the VIBA quote in response to the RFP questions. The association has requested to see the VIBA quote. By their own regulations, CVT will give final quotes to all its users at the same time, and that will be no later than the first week of June. We know that Palm Springs Unified Leadership and Classified have CVT. We know that Desert Sands Unified and Coachella Valley Unified have CVT. So we don't find this to be an issue. The committee has seen comparison charts between CISC and CVT illustrative quotes. Illustrative quotes, by definition, are not final quotes. And the committee has not agreed on any one comparison chart. The union and the district definitely see things differently. We can agree that the deductibles, blended or not blended rates, and the fees that the providers charge are all part of the necessary information to review. To provide clarity and transparency in providing faculty information on strong plans at the best competitive price, CODFA wants to wait for the final CVT quotes. We need complete, transparent data to make informed decisions. We do not see that there is a timeline issue. We know that our open enrollment is in October or later. Last year, it was the end of October. We also know that whenever collective bargaining results in changes, there is an open enrollment. CODFA bargains one last time, June 19th, and then we will resume in the fall of 2017. Yesterday, the district and CODA agreed to one additional bargaining session. We have been waiting for the district's response on our health and welfare proposal, and we appreciate that the district provided an initial proposal, and we understand that the chart that they provided needed more information. It is important to understand a fundamental principle perspective of the union. As long as there is a hard cap set by the district with significantly fewer members has less motivation in selecting a provider with competitive rates. We absolutely must see final rates to make informed selections. And as CVT and SISC are the two providers in discussion, we can wait to see the CVT final rates. Fundamentally, we want cost sharing so that both labor and management have equal skin in the game. For a few years now, we have made this recommendation. A true dialogue on this topic would be very progressive and would save all of us a considerable amount of time and energy. We are confused. The Health and Welfare Committee is a collective bargaining committee and marked such in the CPC handbook, with all the unions having the exact same language in the contracts. As such, we understand that if the district wants to make changes, it can sunshine this section of the contract, and those changes occur at the bargaining table. Equally, we understand that information to College Planning Council is informational only. Last Friday, something new and unusual occurred at College Planning Council. Under action items, VP Gugliarchi reported for 20 minutes about the Health and Welfare Committee. There was no written motion or any handouts. And it is, may I finish? And it is very
I didn't say yes.
Oh.
It is this board's prerogative to allow you to finish. You may finish.
Thank you. It is very difficult to imagine how 30 voting members who are equally split between faculty and staff with 2 students can absorb complex information. In any case, a vote was taken. The president made it clear that the Board of Trustees wants a recommendation for today's meeting, and that the process is Health and Welfare makes a recommendation, it goes to CPC, then to the board, and then the board will direct the district as what it wants it to do. I really have no idea what purpose voting in CPC has for collective bargaining. However, if the Board of Trustees is directing the district about our health and welfare benefits, then please understand that we have met monthly for 2 hours at a time, have books of information, and work diligently to make informed recommendations for the good of the faculty and the whole. And we understand that there are needs that are different with the largest stakeholder, the classified staff. We are, and always have been, willing to meet. It is unfortunate that the Health and Welfare meeting this week was canceled, and apparently there will be no more meetings. It is also unfortunate that for the first time in a very long time, the men's golf team did not make it to state finals. The students did not get their shoes that they earned, and they did not make it to state. It is documented fact that more often than not, their substitute coach was not conducting class. We do not view this as student success or respect for the students or the program. Thank you.
Academic Senate? I'm sorry? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Kristen. I just noticed the time. We're going to recess to closed session now, and we should reconvene at approximately 1:30. Thank you. Out of closed session, there is no reportable action. We will now continue from the reports, and I apologize for cutting you off, Christian.
No, not at all.
Academic Senate?
Thank you. So for the Senate's last board report for this academic year, I wanted to reflect on what the Senate has accomplished this year. So while I've provided you with a detailed 4-page report of our completed goals, our goals in progress, and our goals for next year, I'm just going to highlight one goal from each of our Senate committees in the interest of time. So on All Faculty Senate, we created a centralized process for appointing faculty to all Senate committees, CPC committees, and faculty hiring committees. For this academic year, we appointed 525 faculty positions on those 3 types of committees. Thanks. In faculty development, they completed the online process that was started under Dean Becker for submitting faculty development. And this has resulted in the college being able to be compensated for the maximum number of hours, which has increased our faculty development funding. And next year, we'll be able to increase our flex days to accommodate even more compensation for the work that's already being done. Outcomes and assessments was very busy, and they created a brand new program review process called PEP and PEP Up that will be implemented next year. And the focus of that, and part of the name change, is that we shouldn't just be reviewing and looking backwards. But in looking backwards, we should be planning toward the future. And this new program process will allow us to do that better. They were also extremely busy with SLO workshops, and I will say that we have widespread SLO writing happening across campus in a way I haven't seen in 8 years at COD. And yes, on curriculum, emphasis on that committee has been on training through faculty development, workshops, and creating a curriculum handbook. And really the need for that is that, you know, with the changes from the chancellor on our having more responsibility in approving courses and not going through the chancellor's approval process in the same way, it puts more of a priority on us writing good courses. In educational policies and practices, with the increased help and follow-through of Dean Maldonado, they developed an academic integrity policy that will be completed on voting in September. And something that really highlights in this plan is the idea that there's an educational process to it, so that if a student has repeated offenses, emphasis isn't simply on punishment, but on educating to take actions to correct those issues. And in educational technology and distance education, after 2 years, faculty were finally able to approve video conferencing that will allow faculty to participate in CITIC committees when they are teaching at other campuses like here at Indio. And Jessica Enders has worked with us, and we've already set up conference rooms at all of our sites, DHS, Indio, Mecca Thermal, and Palm Springs, so that starting in the fall, faculty at these sites will be able to be members on Senate committees. And finally, as a final reflection, this month marks the end of my term as Academic Senate President. And I'm very proud of the work that we've accomplished this year. Shared governance and participation takes a commitment from virtually every constituent group on this campus. What I've encountered has been an atmosphere of collegiality and shared values that center on our students, our community, and our responsibility to both. I want to thank the student leadership, the faculty, staff, administration, and this board for everyone's hard work this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, that was Academic Senate, College of the Desert Foundation. I understand Peter needed to leave.
Yes, I have a quick report on behalf of Peter. Board of Trustees, as our season draws to a close, we are getting caught up with our annual internal changes. The Foundation Board has approved its new slate of officers for the year 2017-18. They elected Suze Hunt as the president, Vern Coslin vice president, Brian Holcomb treasurer, Jane Saltonstall as secretary, Mark Nickerson as past president. Our board continues to grow. They approved 2 new board members, David Nola, general sales manager of Alpha Media, the owner of many of the Desert's radio stations. He also has been an assistant football coach here at COD from 1994 to 97 and 2004 to 2010. Mrs. Joanne Mintz. Joanne has been very involved in the organizations here in the desert, including providing scholarships for students here at COD. And as Trustee Yount knows, was one of the founders of the Literary Society of the Desert. We are excited to have their talent and their passion for education and COD. Goals for 2017-18 at this month's board meeting, we are presenting our fundraising goals for 17-18. Continue the campaign for college and career success using an integrated marketing campaign using You Can and Did You Know. This year we'll be focusing again on financial support through scholarships including Pledge, academic support including EDGE, increasing our efforts in planned giving with the recent new buildings on campus and soon to be new buildings. In Indio and Palm Springs, we will be concentrating on a building naming program as well. As you may have read in this morning's Desert Sun, once again the COD Foundation is one of only 25 local nonprofits to be a beneficiary of Barry Manilow's Gift of Love number 4 tour in December. By simply purchasing a ticket for any of the dates, December 12th through 13th or 15th through 17th, and tell them that you are supporting COD. That concludes the foundation report.
Thank you. Very good. And now we move on to the governing board, and before we start off with our student trustee, I just need to announce that I will be leaving this meeting. I am going out of town and need to leave shortly. It is without duress that Vice Chair has agreed to finish chairing the rest of the meeting, and Carlos will be diligently watching over her. So I am now going to turn the gavel over to our most competent Vice Chair. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Aurora, giving me power like that. What a foolish woman. So, student trustee, your report, please, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I attended the last Find Food Bank event that we had on campus, and I'd just like to say thank you for everybody that was over there. You know who you are. I saw a lot of friends that were there, and they were happy to see administrators. Well, they actually were wondering who kind of runs this place, and like, oh, these are the guys that are like kind of in charge. So I think it was nice to add a face to that wonder. I also attended a voice class final presentation at the Pollock Theater, which was really interesting because I didn't know that we had very talented singers at COD. They're amazing.
Amazing.
As well as I also attended yesterday a jazz ensemble, I believe it's called. So also at the Pollock Theater, where students played a variety of songs from famous musicians or bands throughout the ages, and it was also amazing. Unfortunately, I had to leave early from both those events, but I got to meet with them afterwards and give them my gratitude. Now, I will talk about the ASCOT elections. The results from the ASCOT elections go as follows. Your student trustee is Arturo Delgado, the guy right over there in the white. He just spoke to you earlier. He's a great guy, and he talks a lot, so be prepared. Independent Senators Jesus Felix, Independent Senator Ezequiel Nuno, Independent Senator Nicholas Morelli, Independent Senator Luisa Mayorala, I don't know how to pronounce that, Independent Senator Alejandro Aguilar, Officer of External Affairs Andre Aldana, Officer of Academic Affairs John Centeno, Officer of Communications Yasmin Castillo, Officer of Fiscal Affairs Alexander Locklear, Vice President Diego Valdez, and President, yours truly, Isaiah Estrada.
Great.
So the reason why I decided to run for president is because unfortunately, I ended up hitting a sort of financial wall when between going from here to the next higher education. So I will be staying here for another year, and I will be serving as the president of the Ascot Student Senate. So you guys aren't rid of me yet.
Okay. Great.
I will still see you guys every month to give the report.
All right.
And since this is my last meeting, this is my last meeting, by the way, apparently. I just want to say thank you all for everything that you taught me. You definitely showed me how a meeting should go, because you guys run meetings like nothing. I don't know how you do it, honestly. I had already a chance to run a couple of my own meetings for the Ascot Student Senate, and they're pretty difficult. But you definitely showed me a lot to do, how to represent your community, how to not say anything stupid while on the mic.
You teach me that one.
And I just wanted to say thank you for letting me be here with you guys. Oh, and finally, that didn't start yet. Okay. Finally, I just want to say thank you to whoever put this room together, because that must have been hard. I don't know who did that. I don't know if it was a group effort, but
Good job.
yeah, that's definitely congratulations to them. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, and for all the hard work you've done as being student trustee. We definitely thank you and look forward to having you for another year as the president. It'll be great. Each of us as a trustee will be pushing you to be sure that your group represents students from all of our campuses, and I know that's something that you also embrace, so we look forward to that. Trustee Yon?
Thank you. May, of course, is a happy but busy month in the academic calendar. So it's a time of celebration and a time of passing and accomplishments. And we thank President Killman for his summary of what's happened in this past year. I'd like to thank the communication program for sponsoring the speech contest this year and inviting me to be a judge. I enjoyed that. I hope we do more of that. And there have been so many ceremonies, such as the police academy and so on. Unfortunately, I missed one because of having to attend a memorial service for former president of Cal State, Al Karlenberg. Al Karlenberg represented the best of education. He was an immigrant to the United States, spoke no English until he went to the first grade, was at best, marginal high school student, but in college discovered a purpose for his life and had a very successful life as college provost, college dean, and after his graduation moved on to do even more things, becoming very, very active in the infant toddler program. I worked with him 3 or 4 hours a week for 13 years. Wow. So his presence will be missed. He was a friend of College of the Desert and was very much present in the Coachella Valley. I want to extend my congratulations to all the graduates. You're joining a very distinguished group of people who are graduates of community colleges, who range from Steve Jobs, who graduated from De Anza, George Lucas, who graduated from Modesto, and Tom Hanks, who graduated from some little college up in Northern California. Not sure which one.
Chabot.
Okay. Did he become a supporter?
Yes, he ultimately did.
He did?
Recently, in the past few years.
Good, good. And that is an indication of what we all hope that all graduates do become, and that is loyal alumni and support the campuses that they attended. And another community college graduate was Walt Disney, not from California, but from, I think, Missouri. Okay. And of course, we want to thank everyone at this beautiful facility and all of our off-campus people that work at different sites. And I want to at least recognize all of you. I'm just going to highlight one name, Imelda Tofano, who's administrative assistant for Jessica Enders, who kind of identified with this building. and maybe represents all the people that work at the off-site centers. I think that'll pass in the interest of time.
And Imelda's a good choice
Yep.
because she started at Mecca Thermal Campus
Uh-huh.
and many times was the glue that held that campus together. So Imelda's a great choice.
Good.
Thank you, Fred.
Mhm.
Bonnie?
Okay. First off, I want to apologize for not being at your meeting last month, but let's just say I was in a lot of pain and on a lot of medication, and I would have been fun, but that wouldn't have gotten anything done. So it was good that I stayed home, but I had wanted to share with everyone in the community about the Governance Leadership Institute, the GLI, that I had attended earlier in that month. And I had never been to one, so I didn't know what to expect. I'd been to a lot of ACCT conferences, and you go to sessions, and it's kind of you pick your session and stuff. This one was totally different. They said usually they have between 35 to 70 people at one of these conferences, but like it says, it's an institute, and it's run like a class. Everybody there gets up real early, and because of where we were located, they put us on a bus. They told me I had to be there at 7 o'clock because I had to be on the first bus because of my walker. And supposedly the first bus wasn't supposed to leave till 7:30, but oftentimes it left earlier, and we didn't get back to where we were staying till 4:30 at night. And it was very, very intense. It was like going back to college. What a shock on my body. So needless to say, it was not a waste of money, even though it was in Hawaii. And the other thing that was unique about this was they had anticipated maybe 35, and they expected them from the various islands and some people from the mainland to come over. But we ended up with 127 people, I think it was, at the conference. And they ran it like they usually run their institutes. Everybody was in one room, and you were expected over the course of the 3 days, 3.5 days, to get to know everybody that was there. And there were people from all of the American Territory Islands. So, and I found out that for some of them it was 10 hours to Hawaii, and if they were to go to this, the reason they had the conference in Hawaii was because if they were to go to the mainland, it would be, like the East Coast, it would be another 5 to 10 hours for them, and so that'd be 20 hours of flight time plus big expense. So it was great having it in Hawaii, although I was exhausted, and you had homework every night. I forgot to tell you that, didn't I? So last day they let us out early, and so what do? I get sick, so I don't get to get to the beach until like midnight that night, and I had to leave the next morning. So anyhow, I brought this beautiful book back, and I asked for a hard copy, and it's about all the things that we're supposed to do as a board. Cool. And I have already told some of the board members that we need to look at our policies and our bylaws, and we need to make sure that they adhere to things and make sure that all the pieces are there. So last time you had a first reading on one of our policies, and this time I noticed there's more that we're looking at, but the one that I thought was really interesting was our travel policy. I wanted you to know your money was not wasted because I was at everything. I was the first one on the bus every morning. I was the last one off the bus every night. So I got a lot out of the conference, and you're going to hear me saying a lot of things like we need to do this or we need to do that. Like Fred said, this last month has been very busy. This is just some of the things that I've attended in here. I always say this is the happiest time of year. It's, for me, May and June are like December. It's Christmas time. Everything's joyous and happy. But this year it's also been kind of sad because I realize there's a lot of the international students that I've gotten to know over the last few years that are graduating. Some are staying in the United States, but some are going back to their homes. And so it's sad that, I might not have the opportunity to see them for a long period of time. And even the ones that graduate, I guess I'm getting old because I realize that I might not get to see all the things that they're going to achieve. Before it was like, oh, well, they're going to come back and they're going to tell me. And a lot of them do. But I know that I get very close to our students, particularly at this time of year and throughout the year, attending their events. And it's very joyous seeing how happy they are and knowing how well they're doing on this leg of their educational journey and that they're going to be going places and doing things. It's just that I want to see how they succeed in the next leg of their journey through life, and then the next leg. And I think Trustee O'Neill, when he retired, said it best, it's not the end, it's just getting on another train a lot of times. And it's sad to say goodbye when you're leaving, or somebody's leaving town, but it's also very happy because you know that they're going to have wonderful things ahead of them. And I want to thank everybody at the college, everybody that's involved with everybody, because our lives are much more. Used to teach math, and I used to tell my students there's more than just 2D, the flat piece of paper in front of you. There's more than just 3D, something that has shape, like my sunglasses over here. There is beyond that, the part we don't get to see. When you throw a pebble in the water, you see the first ring of ripples come out. Then you see the next ring of ripples come out. It's the same pebble as making all those additional ripples. And so each life has many, many things that we don't even realize are happening out there. And we don't know how many dimensions there are that each of those lives will impact. So I want to thank each and every person that's associated with the college for doing everything you do, because we never know how far outreaching one action might be. And I especially want to thank the Board of Trustees and the college for having this meeting in Indio. This is my home. It's my back door. And I love to show it off, and I love to tell people to go here. And now the board has been here. Not just to open the doors like we did originally, but to come here and to be part of our community for the day. So I appreciate that very much, and thank you, and I'll end there.
Thank you, and it is a pleasure to be in Indio, and we thank all the hard work for welcoming us. It is May. It is a time to look around and see what we've accomplished and where we're going. It was very nice to see this today, to see that we have a number of students from our Mechathermal campus that have published. Some of us do know very well about picking crops or growing the crops, so it's nice to have that perspective. And it's wonderful to see our Mechathermal campus grow. I'm told our observatory's been delivered. Of course, not put together yet, but that's asking like way too much in 1 week. We are expanding our services to those students. So our health services and our DSPS services will be increased both here and in Mechathermal. I see that we're going to vote, and I hope approve, for some coordination for putting that observatory and the items in place that we need to actually have the study program around it. I hear the rumors that our CV High School Ag students came by to check out the Mechathermal campus. I believe that's an offshoot from our community outreach that we did for our Roadrunner Farm. So I thank everyone involved in that, especially Zarel Becker and Linda Vent, who did all that hard work of putting that together. I believe those CV Ag students are our cohort, as well as the Indio Ag students are. Some of those students will be interested in being our cohort to move into our agricultural classes, both at Mechathermal and at Palm Desert. So that's very exciting. We're thinking of that area as being a science hub, and there's nothing more appropriate than having the Salton Sea, having individuals from the Salton Sea Project visit there, meet there, because we are certainly very close to the Salton Sea. There will be EDGE offered in mechathermal and robotics. The robotics classes are filling up, and that's a pat on all of our backs because there was a time when we had to beg students, and now we just have a few open places that we need to spread the word a little more. So that's really exciting. We also will have EDGE, of course, here in Indio, and they're trying to find, now listen to this, they're trying to find space to have the robotics camp here, which pretty well shows how well used this campus is and how much we need to expand. So I'm happy to also see in our agenda that we are taking the next steps for expansion here. I also have heard that we're going to have the code, the CODE code outreach sessions here this summer. So that's really going to be wonderful. Indio, as usual, will be busting at the seams, as they say. So what we need is more space. Bookstore, getting books to our students that are not on the main campus has been a problem. The bookstore is working to provide free shipping for the classes in Desert Hot Springs, Mechathermal campus, because we just aren't big enough to have a location there. So I'm very happy to see that we're providing the services that go along with the wonderful courses that we teach to help those students. Oh no, guys, I want to be longer than this. Is that okay? Okay.
I just kept talking.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's that approach too. Let me see. We're going to have a celebration here tonight for early childhood education. That's one of the paths that is very requested, or was when we started putting together the ideas for the educational pathways away from our Palm Desert campus. The communities really need the early childhood education. I'm very glad to see that we're reaching out to those communities and reaching out to those students. There are many of us that believe that that is the future, that helping those little folks is what helps our community and our society have big folks that come in our doors later. Let me see, I've mentioned COD, and that we're going to have EDGE here. That was another thing I heard. We have changed around our staff a little bit so that we have enrollment services specialists in Indio and in Mecca. And that's so important for our students. So I thank those people that made that happen. And you can see that my point here is that we're beginning to truly provide the services that we've been trying so hard for our students to have. Our communities are reaching out. I was asked by the Mechathermal Community Council, would I please bring some schedules by? So I did that this week. I know it was late. They knew it was late. It was when they had their meeting, but really what they wanted to do, I don't think we'll get a lot of enrollments this fall from that. And what we're doing is telling the community what's available. So we may be surprised. We may have a lot. If not, we're going to have those folks come because this is a way to reach out to a different sector of the community. I was told last night that our Southern Coachella Valley Community Services District deputies are speaking to a class, I think it was today, I really didn't listen that closely, to our administration of justice students. That's an opportunity for people that grew up in that area to meet with their law enforcement and have community policing. Public safety is the Community Services District's goal, and so it helps enforce public safety and opportunities to know how to do things, what the future is, other things that one could dedicate their life to. Back to Roadrunner Farms. Yeah, it's a topic I like. I hear that we're in the process of hiring an independent contractor. When that's completed, then we're going to have someone that has worked with the farming community that is interested in the education of the area, help us to begin the processes of putting together that program. There'll be much more that goes to it later, but this is a beginning. We're not just, this college is putting out quality students. I understand that we had art students that participated in the Palm Springs Museum Student Show, but the part that blows you away is one of the pieces of art that was put out there was awarded a purchase award, and I thought, oh, they sold their painting, but no, that's not what that means. That means that they didn't just sell their painting, the work will become part of the permanent collection of Palm Springs Art Museum. That's phenomenal. The art club is starting up a robust group. I'm glad to hear that, and they're curating a show at the Creative Center for Arts in June. And also there's a portfolio prep course. When you talk to professional artists, they say where schools come short is they don't provide the whole picture. That we send students off without the most important thing, and that's a portfolio. Well, someone at College of the Desert heard and are acting on it and are teaching these students to build a credible portfolio. So in another way, we're reaching out to students. Health issues. I know that I hear Carly come home and tell me what happened at school that day. And you know that students and people on our campus have health issues from time to time. I hear that in seizures, we all know that seizures are not uncommon. Not usually life-threatening if handled correctly, but not uncommon. So one of our students happened to be where there was a child that was having a seizure. He attended to the child in a proper manner. When the EMS came, he was able to give up an appropriate medical report and was responded to with many thanks from those EMSs because there had been someone there that did the appropriate thing. I'm wondering if more of us don't need training in what to do when we're around someone that has a seizure, because sometimes the person's there and you think, oh, well, that person will know. Well, they don't, so someone needs to. So it's a thought that perhaps that should be more widely handled. We've had our CODs, Outstanding Nurses, were awarded awards. Our Workforce Center is working. We've had a journalism major that has secured an internship at Palm Springs Life. We have a journalism major that has completed 2 work experience internships and has been hired as a permanent news reporter for Intravision. We've had students that, both of these students, I guess is where I'm trying to go, have attended our panel discussion on careers in the media event, and that came through the Career and Workforce Solutions Center. So our Career and Workforce Solutions Center is very young, very active, and very successful. To get down to the personal things, you wonder how all of our students have choices, have choices that they need to make. Sometimes it's staying with us a little longer. I've often heard it said that community college is your best scholarship for higher education for a master's degree because you've not spent all of your money. You've got a chance to go on, so continue working toward those classes that you need. Some students come with incredible challenges. One of our philosophy teachers said that she has 4 students in a class that are pregnant, and that All four of those ladies have been wonderful mentors and examples for the others in the class because every day they come highly motivated, whether they feel great or whether they don't. They don't tell you about the kids at home or how it just really is hard to move that day. They just keep on going. So our students are really great people. To end this, I'd like to list some, well, actually, I need to mention a veteran. We had a veteran give us a speech at the veterans at their ceremony at the end of the year. It's pretty much graduation, but not exactly. And this veteran said that how much the college had meant to him. But what I carried away from it was that we have a responsibility. He, as a veteran, was saying he had been helped by other veterans, and he had a responsibility to help other veterans by being the best he could be. And his advice, or actually his, veterans don't give advice. His opinion was that all veterans owed it to other veterans to be the best that they could be. So it didn't stop with him, but it moved on to his brothers, so that other veterans would have a chance to show what they could do. And he gave the College of the Desert and their staff credit for taking him from a very bad place to a very good place. The film students are the ones that really sum up how we should all consider living. Their list was: be dedicated, do as many cuts of your film as you need, be resourceful, don't be afraid to ask for help, always have a backup plan, don't be afraid to go with your gut, be on time, and lastly, but certainly not the least, work with people you know you can depend on. And that's why I find being on this board is such a fulfilling thing to do, is because I work with people I can depend on. So I thank you for that, and our students thank you for that. So after that long-winded report, I'm sorry, there's just so much good. President Kinnaman, do you have any additional comments?
I just briefly want to thank our student trustee for his work on the board this past year. Isaiah, you've been really nice to have around, and especially just to see you on campus. I think we run into each other pretty frequently. He stands out. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, but he typically will beeline over and spend some time visiting, and I appreciate that. It keeps me grounded. Also looking forward to working with Arturo and others as they transition into roles, in and out of roles, and heartfelt appreciation for the work of Kristen Smith and the Academic Senate this year. There's been a lot that's happened at Master Plan, accreditation, and the litany of committees and hiring, and so I salute her for what she was able to accomplish this past year, and thank her personally. And Jessica, thanks for getting us all set up over here. Things look great. And with that, I will conclude my remarks.
And I've lost my papers.
Which one do you want?
I want the one that says that we have a person that, for the consent calendar. Oh, well. He knows who he is, so we're going to be okay. I'll find it later. So we're moving on to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately. We had a public comment request that I've lost, but I'll find it later. Asking to speak on the first item. I can find that part.
It was by Laurel
It was-
Jimenez.
it
Could you give
was
us
Laurel,
the number of
so-
that, please?
You're right.
Do you have it?
So I'm going to, Carlos, may I go ahead
A1?
and pull
I think
that
it's
so that
A1.
he can speak to it and we can go with the rest of the consent agenda?
Sure, take a first and then a second and then discussion pool
Okay,
out that item.
That item, and I'd like to pull another one as well.
perfect.
Okay, I believe that was A1.
It was one, yes.
Okay, A1, and then also a pull on B number 6, please.
B number 6. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion that we pull A1 and B6. So are there any other items that, that a trustee wishes to pull? So I have a motion, I need a second.
So your motion is to
Pull,
approve the consent
approve the
items.
consent.
There's a second.
Mhm.
And during discussion, you're pulling A1 and B6. And you're going to ask if there are any objections to pull.
That was way too many steps.
Okay, she just did that.
Okay.
Still needs a motion to approve consent.
Okay, I need a motion to approve
So
consent.
move.
Second.
Great, okay.
Discussion. Second, that discussion.
Okay, so, and is there any discussion? This is where I get the
And
pulled
this
items?
is where we
Okay.
were pulling A1 and B6.
Okay, you're there? Okay. Any other discussion? Any other items pulled?
No.
Am I confused enough?
No,
Okay.
no, you're doing fine.
Okay. Is there any objection to pulling A1 and B6?
No.
Aren't they sweet?
Any more discussion on the consent items?
No.
Am I there? Yeah. Okay. So, all in favor for adopting consent as, with those items pulled, right?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that was, we finally got through that. Woo! Okay.
We're going to start with A1.
So we have, so we have adopted the consent items, and we are to the action agenda where we can talk about the items that we pulled. The first being A1. Laura, it was your request that you speak to that item. So I need a motion to approve A1.
So move.
I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Thank you, good work.
Yes, Carlos, it
It's
was 5
challenging.
minutes.
So this one's at 3 minutes, so I will be brief. First off, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the board and Dr. Kinnaman and administration, because as you've seen through many approvals of this consent agenda, we have many staff that are being hired, and so that's a great thing. So that's on the positive side. However, just wanted to express some concerns as well about this item. As you may recall, for those who have been on the board for, shall we say, extended periods of time, the board agenda used to include backup material that had more than what we currently have, which is the name, position, department, and effective date. And that's a concern because there are many instances where the board is approving things that you may not be fully aware of. And I had made reference in my board report earlier about grievance that we were working with that is very much related to this in terms of the naming of substitutes and the reasons for substitutes. And like I said before, we're hopefully in the process of reaching settlement with that. But again, this is something to express a concern on behalf of CSA and our members in this area, the area of substitutes. And then also, you also see in this particular type of board agenda item, reclassifications. And I just would like to take the opportunity to express some serious concerns about that process. As I've stated before, reclassifications are supposed to, there's a deadline for, thank you, found it. The staff are supposed to meet a deadline of January for an effective date of July 1st of each year. So we are currently in the process of processing what should have been paid out July 1st of 2016. And that's a serious concern. And before you have one person who is finally going to get paid, they're retroactive from before. But the other item is that we discovered there was a technical glitch and there's a second person that should have been there. And I just want to express a concern that, we're talking about several $1,000s worth of retroactive pay that's going to have to wait another board agenda, when I feel that there have been many a time when we've used the little part that happens at 9:30 about something that happens and that comes to the attention of the board. So I wanted to express that as a concern. And then finally, these are the positive things where we're filling vacancies. But overall, and for all of our staff, there are many positions that have gone vacant for many a month, and in some instances for over a year's time. And I think we're going to be making some positive headway with that, because there's now a new staff prioritization process that talks about filling positions as they come, because as we've all learned, we're growing and there's a great need for student support. And so hopefully this won't happen as much. But again, it's a serious concern. We really need to fill these positions quickly, because otherwise the workload happens and someone has to take it, and we do take it. And I noticed that there isn't a timer, and so I'm going to stop now. But thank you for taking time to listen to these concerns. And again, there's certainly positive things, but I think we could, as Trustee Stefan said, there are many things that we could do to improve our processes. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. So we have a motion. We have a motion to approve item 1 that was pulled.
Do you mind if I speak to this item also?
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
You sure?
I'm sure, because
Okay.
I found the piece of paper that you need, so
as
I'm not in trouble anymore.
Thank you. Well, as you can see, we've got a significant item here, personnel items, action item 1, with a lot of people. And of course, behind each one of these individuals, there's a lot of effort to prepare things for the Board of Trustees. And so I just want to express my appreciation for staff that have really worked hard to have this material before you, with the understanding that there's a lot of moving parts behind the scene. I also want to express my appreciation to Dr. Ghilardi, because she did bring to my attention that there was a second person that we were looking at for reclassification that her staff felt was on here, but when we arrived, didn't see the name. And she was very sensitive to the fact that that individual employee, that we would want to make sure that we don't delay the reclassification on her. So we'll move forward with the making the adjustments and then bring it back to the board as a ratification on that one item. Okay.
Fine.
Sounds like a good selection.
Thank you.
A good approach. Thank you. Any other comments to that? Okay, is there any discussion, any other discussion for the item, for this item? A1. A1, yes. Any more discussion? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the question. All in favor of approving A1, say aye.
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 Aye. That was a unanimous vote.
Madam Chair, moving forward, you'll want to recognize the student trustee.
Oh, you're right, I should do that. He's become so much part of us that it's hard to even believe that he's not, that he's a student. He's grown into that role. So the other item that was pulled was B6. Do I have a motion that we approve B6?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second that we approve B6. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to speak to that. I notice we have a number of gifts and donations again to the district, and I'm particularly intrigued by the fact that Olson Engineering of Indio has donated some items for turf and horticulture classes and laboratory exercises. And I believe that's for the Mechathermal Roadrunner Farms. And so that is really exciting. And then we also have some vintage cameras and some other things that were donated. And I just wanted to say thank you. We appreciate all the donations, all the things that help our students.
Always nice to have the community with donate their time and items. So any other discussion? There being no other discussion, we're ready to vote. Student trustee, what is your advisory vote? See?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you, student trustee. And our non-student trustees, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That was unanimous vote. See, we got through that. Sort of. Okay. Now moving on to back to the action agenda as presented. The next item is B, Board of Trustees, Board Policy Review. This is for the second reading. So the first item is Board Policy 1100, the Desert Community College District. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 1100 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? It's the description of the district.
This is it, yeah.
You ready to vote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There, hearing no discussion, student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. The next board policy is Board Policy 1300, Legal Authority. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 1300 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion for the second reading, student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that's a unanimous vote. Board Policy 2735, Board Member Travel. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 2735 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I hear that is unanimous vote. Next item is item D, Board Policy 7380, Retiree Health Benefits. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 7380 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. Student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hear that is unanimous vote. The next items are Board Policy Review, first reading. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 5015 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item is Board Policy 5035, Withholding of Student Records. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 5035 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Board Policy 5052, Open Enrollment. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 5052 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition, motion carried unanimously. Next item is Board Policy 5120, Transfer Center. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 5120 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Julia hadn't said slow down yet. Board Policy 5130, Financial Aid. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 5130?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Board Policy 5400, Associated Students Organization. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 5400 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a very appropriate motion and a
That's right.
second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Student Trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving to the next item. The next item's number 3, approval of emeritus status.
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have some discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
This is really exciting. Plus, it's connected to one of the events that I find most exciting throughout the year, where we can honor individuals that are employed by us that impact our students so tremendously well. And congratulations to each and every one of these individuals.
Indeed. Dr. Yount?
We don't want to highlight anyone's for more than these folks who have all done exceptional things for the university and for what's happening here. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Jack Tapleshay for many years, and the comments on the proposal are so appropriate. 15,000 students.
Would you like to say something,
And I was,
Madam
yes,
Chair?
yeah, thank you so much. I was looking to
Or
see
with our student
if our
trustee?
student trustee had anything to add. Sometimes our student trustee has had one of the professors that's being honored.
I
have a
actually
math.
have had Jack Tapleshay for a number of classes, and he's definitely been one of my, I would say, mentors for a while. So it's good to see him on here.
It is wonderful, and because this is, this status, this honor is put forward by their peers, by a small, intimate community of their peers, and then has been approved by a larger community. It's truly an honor. It's one thing for someone sitting at a board to say, gee, you've done a good job. It's another thing for your peers to say, you've done an excellent job. So I thank them for all the students that they've reached out to, all the hard work, and it truly is an honor. So congratulations. Being no more discussion, student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item comes under President, the post-sabbatical leave verbal reports. Dr. Kinnaman, would you like to?
We need a motion.
Oh, I do need a motion, yeah, because he'll be doing that red card
I so move
at
the
me.
post-sabbatical leave verbal reports that they be approved after we hear them.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table that the post-sabbatical leave verbal reports be approved once they've been presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have that motion and a second. Now I think it's your turn, Dr. Kinnaman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask Dr. Ralston to do introductions of our faculty.
So we'll go in order of the folks as they're listed on the item, and I'll introduce first Ruth Nolan, who's here to talk to us. We also have Kurt Leuschner here with us today, but we'll go ahead and start with Ruth. I think you should.
Great, thank you. First of all, I just really want to give the board, the administration, and everybody a great thank you for this project that I've done, Fire on the Mojave, Stories from the Deserts and Mountains of Inland Southern California, which has taken me to a scope and depth of a project that is even much bigger than I'd even envisioned. And to me, helps demonstrate the urgency of the topic and engagement with that. I have some packets for everybody. They should be in your items, and you're free to go through it and read. There are some excerpts from the book, manuscript. And just to start, I want to just read a little statement, and then I'm going to read a very short excerpt from the book, and then just run us through a quick slideshow. During the 2015-16 academic year, thanks to the support and generosity of the COD board, administration, and faculty, I embarked on an amazing journey into the world of wildland firefighters and firefighting here in the California deserts and inland mountains. the place we call home. As a former seasonal wildland firefighter in this very region during my college years, I felt that the topic of wildland fire for our college campus and community at large, and career opportunities available to our young adult students here at COD through our excellent Public Safety Academy and Wildland Fire courses, which are actually part of the statewide California Community College Public Safety Academy programs, is a critical one. My research-narrated nonfiction book project is also complemented by photography, short videos, a Facebook page, and PowerPoint presentations suitable for educational lectures throughout Southern California. I've already given several lectures in the community, Coachella Valley Archaeology Society, and there was another one, I can't remember. And I've already been asked to give several in the upcoming academic year, including one at the Desert Institute at Joshua Tree National Park. So this is part of the scope of the project, that I take this out to the community, showcase our campus, our PSA, and the many different components of wildland fire, firefighters training, and just to help foster sort of a dialogue with the wildfire topic, which is something we all live with. If it's one thing I learned during this sabbatical, everybody who lives in this area has a story about a wildland fire. So it's been very exciting to get so many voices as part of this project. Fire on the Mojave is currently in production towards publication, and Dr. Carl Chrisman is helping me with the process. He's already published several books, and it will be available soon on Amazon and Kindle, and as well I'll have print copies available for our campus, our instructors, and at the bookstore. It will be a resource reader that is suitable for classroom use with questions at the end of each chapter and writing prompts. So suitable for many different academic disciplines for teachers to use. Okay, I'm just going to read a short chapter. So if you look at my chapter outline, you see that I've organized the book into 10 different sections, and each one will have photographs, interviews, and trying to make this a very readable book. That's why I'm the narrator, to try to invite people into the topic and sort of be their tour guide as someone who's experienced and actually did go through a public safety academy over 30 years ago at Victor Valley College. So it's been very exciting. My journey as a community college student and graduated Victor Valley College, and here I am at College of the Desert as a professor and circling back in around on the topic. Very rewarding to me. And to be honest, something I'd never anticipated. This is from chapter 2. It's unseasonably warm, 90 degrees, on what has been the warmest February on record in the Coachella Valley. I'm at the COD Public Safety Academy's Fire Academy 2 class at the end of a long Saturday of classroom study and hands-on training to interview Lauren Alvera, the only female candidate in this year's Fire Academy class, which began this past September and is part of the 8-month-long program offered by COD each academic year. I met Lauren the previous weekend at the training session held in Banning on a cold, clear Santa Ana wind-driven day. She was the only only woman in the training session that day, and it took me a while to find her because she blended in with everyone else dressed in full fire gear, clothing, web gear, fire shelters, and helmets, as if they were on a real fire assignment. I asked Lauren if I could interview her, and she agreed. Today, as the sun begins to sink behind Mount San Jacinto at the window behind her, Lauren sits down in front of me as everyone else heads home. What would you like to know, she asks. She's confident, assured, and well-spoken. Lauren is 24 years old from Los Angeles, where she grew up and now lives. I asked her why she's here in the College of the Desert program, why she came to choose COD from so far away from home. As it turns out, the Public Safety Academy programs closer to home in the LA Basin and Inland Empire are all more heavily impacted with students, and the waiting lists are long. So Lauren chose to come to our Safety Academy because of our availability and the excellent reputation of our program, which, as most of you know, is headed by Scott Ventura, retired Palm Springs Fire Chief, who was extremely supportive. In my sabbatical, I did a lot of classroom observations and interviews with him, and I do want to give him thanks also. So I'd like to lead you now through the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So guess who that is? Ruth Nolan, back in the 1980s, when I was on the Mojave Greens Red Card crew. working out of the San Bernardino National Forest. And I was in one of the first classes to graduate from the fledgling Public Safety Academy program. When this was in the state of California community colleges, kind of a new thing. And I had no idea there were jobs like this out there. I grew up in a remote area, and I saw a sign on a telephone pole that said, firefighting work, come and train. And being young and adventuresome and knowing there were not a lot of jobs in that remote area, and just got into it and ended up doing 7 seasons, going all the way to the BLM and working on a helicopter hotshot crew for a year. And then I decided to be a college professor. So kind of a big switch there. But as I said, it's very exciting to make this circular journey from doing this kind of work. And one of the components of my sabbatical was to really encourage young people, women. I got so much flack for doing this work. Why shouldn't women be firefighters? And meeting Lauren in the COD PSA class was really exciting. So Chapter 1, Introduction, Living in the Hot Zone. This is a NASA satellite picture from the firestorm in October 2003. You can see where we live. Salton Sea is in there. But we live with wildfire. It's everywhere around us, and we are at risk, and it's never going to go away. Uh-oh. So when you start really paying attention to fire ecology, fire regimes, where we live, here's a fire danger sign that's very close to where we live on Highway 74. So one of my goals in the book is to help people to teach them to be aware of when you're in a wildfire zone, how you as a human interacting in this have a big impact on fire happening or not happening. Chapter 2 is our firefighter training COD Public Safety Academy. A wonderful, wonderful program, and our students who I met in the program and also taking Intro to Wildland Fire were just incredible. They're motivated. And this is not only, I know you all probably know that the PSA offers other careers in law enforcement, but our firefighters are working with some of the best people to train. So I was very impressed with what I saw. Career Potential Assessment, Veteran Fire Chief Scott Ventura in his class. So firefighting entails a certain amount of danger and excitement. It's very true. And also training programs. So this was a great class introducing students to what careers are available to them, both seasonal and those who want to go into full-time careers. And this is one of our instructors, Walt Holloway, who's a retired chief and one of the practice fire engines that is used to teach students the actual hands-on, how to do hose lays, how to cut fire line. And this is Lauren Alvera, one of our Fire Academy candidates who graduated last March and it was already hired full-time. And here's some of our students learning how to cut fire line back last February. And some of the tools used by wildland firefighters as demonstrated by COD wildland fire students. And here's one of the textbooks used in the class. And this was actually a visit I made to the Victor Valley College Public Safety Academy. This is something known as a fire shelter, and the real ones don't actually look like this. They're more like aluminum. And the vernacular is, they call them shake and bakes, which is not a very nice term, but pretty scary work.
Pretty scary.
And this is learning how to do hose lays up at Victor Valley College, which is a lot harder than it looks. And this was our wildfire suppression demonstration family night last March at the Public Safety Academy, over there at the Roy Wilson Interagency Fire Training Center in Thousand Palms.
Which is phenomenal.
What?
Which is a phenomenal
Yeah,
facility.
they took me on a whole tour, and I didn't even realize it was there. So these are our students, the graduating class last year. Chapter 3, Who Fights Fire? Types of Crews and Agencies. Another one of our students from last year's academy, Val Gambino, who's planning a career in wildfire. The early pioneering wildfire training back in the 1950s, which was right here in the San Bernardino National Forest. Wayne Seacrest is actually a COD graduate from about 10 years ago, now working at the illustrious City of Palm Springs Fire Station. The fire engine in the back is designed to put out airplane fires because they're adjacent to the airport. So Wayne has really made good in his career, coming from COD. And this is my old fire helicopter that I used to work on. This is a newer version of the helicopter. Working on a fire in the Cajon Pass. COD graduate Patty Delgado, who went to COD years ago, but she actually had worked on a CAL FIRE crew. And I interviewed, she's in the book. Rattlesnake Mountain Volunteer Fire Department, Juniper Flats. The Fire Academy at COD also provides young adults who have had incarcerated backgrounds. These young men had gone from California Youth Authority, from gangs in Los Angeles, into entering the Victor Valley College program. So the idea of the rehabilitative focus of this is wonderful and something a lot of people don't think about with these kind of programs. Chapter 4, one of our big wildfire tragedies, the Esperanza Fire. There's a chapter on this, and there was actually a book written about it, which I feature in my sabbatical. Chapter 5, Fire Ecology, Living in the Wilderness Urban Interface. This is in Piñon, right up the road from our COD Palm Desert campus, and you see the house up here? This is what we call the fire zone. Very flammable, and people need to know how to be prepared. There's actually, you can see where the fire from over 20 years ago burned in Piñon, and how certain factors went into making that burn a lot worse. And this is another view of the WI and the Morongo Reservation. Chapter 6, Fire Stories from Wildfire Survivors in Our Region. Mountain Fire, Idlewild. Professor Jean Wagner, who teaches at COD, contributed a story of how she had to evacuate during that fire. And there's other people contributing little brief stories. Historic wildfires, and also a look at this book written by one of our local authors about one of the big fires up in Joshua Tree 10 years ago. Chapter 7, Native American Wildfire and Resource Management. Native Americans in our region have used fire as a resource management strategy, and so I talk about this in Chapter 7. Invasive grasses, one of the influences of wildfire hazards to be aware of. Regimes used by Native Americans, and this is actually one of our local palm oases, what it looks like after a fire burns. There's a chapter on an historic burn up in Joshua Tree National Park, and I talk about the Joshua Tree Mojave Desert woodlands and the effects of wildfires on that type of landscape. And then chapter 9 talks about things like climate change, what can we anticipate with preparing for fires, community wildfire preparation resources that are available to the public, including training sessions we can go to on weekends where they teach you how to prepare your home and be ready, such as how do you take care of the landscape at your home, cutting the undergrowth, so if a fire comes through, you're not as flammable. And that's actually my little grandson, Simon, with a fire chief up at the Piñon Fire Station. So the education of fire awareness, learning how fires work, how to prepare, can start and should start at a really young age. And finally, we have conclusions and final thoughts on, there's me with my old fire engine and a Pulaski tool. And always be careful with fire, Smokey the Bear. And if there are any questions or comments, thank you.
Ruth, I never knew you had this experience.
You didn't?
No.
Well, I do, so.
Fascinating.
And after this book, I'm actually going to write a memoir about my fire experiences.
Really?
Because many people have been asking me, you should write about that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Which I never really thought of. So, thank you.
Yeah.
And just hope I can pass on that excitement and enthusiasm for students, all the careers that are available to them through our excellent PSA. Any other
Excellent.
comments or questions? Or?
Any other comments?
Well, I have another comment.
Yes.
Going back to Solstice, how can I get a lot more of these?
You can pick them up at the main campus communication division, or maybe I can coordinate with you to get you. How many more do you want?
Well, I'd like to have one for every teacher at my school.
That's great.
There's 19 more.
I wanted to let everybody know I'm also creating a Facebook page for the Solstice.
Good.
And starting very soon, I'll be publishing individual pieces so we can actually help reach more people too throughout our region and beyond. So our students have done phenomenal. This is
Phenomenal.
probably the best year, I think. Our students are writing about real things that are happening right now in their lives and in our world, and their writing is just so intense, so powerful, and so urgent. And I'm just happy to give them a showcase to be able to get the work out. So once again, I really want to thank the board for your support, and I've had a great time on my sabbatical.
And thank you for all the hard work
welcome.
that you did. I think that your enthusiasm for writing bleeds over not just through the topic, the very interesting topic you chose, but also that enthusiasm for something that speaks to you, helps a student understand that what speaks to them is equally of value. And I believe that's some of the reason that we get the great work that we do from students. So
Well, that's really much appreciated. When I teach creative writing, I just really emphasize to students how important their writing is, and how now more than ever, there's so many opportunities to get their work published, and that there is a desire for people that want to read this work. So the solstice is a connective,
Yes.
and when you're talking about the portfolios, the solstice is an example of a portfolio.
Portfolio,
Students
yes.
can take this with them and say, here's my work. I'm part of this college.
I'm published.
And this is what I've achieved, something I've achieved.
Yes.
So I'm just really grateful for the college also for funding the solstice and making this come to life. And we will get you copies.
It was a wonderful
Ruth,
report
it's
today.
a great bookend to have your public comment be about solstice and to have your sabbatical report. You do great honor to the English program.
Thank
You had a
you.
piece published out of this work earlier this fall.
I wanted to mention that, thank you. I've had several pieces published. One was in the Desert Magazine, which you said you read,
Yeah.
and another piece was published in the Sierra Club Desert Report magazine. And I hope to get more little pieces published.
I was going to mention that I found your work analogous to Terry Tempest Williams, who did such a beautiful
Well,
piece
that's a
with
real honor.
Refuge, and
Thank
I
you.
just think your work is really standing well on its own. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
You did great service to the
And,
college.
I feel the college is my support, employment professor position, gives me the encouragement to do this and to bring this back home to the college and to our students. And I tell them, look, I started out at community college. I went to community college and I worked hard and I just started to make a writer out of myself, out of nowhere. I don't have any writers in the family. And if I can do it, you can do it. Oh, not to mention I'm a single mom. I raised a daughter on my own who's now 28. So when I like to share that with my students and say, I know what a lot of you are going through as single moms. And, starting out with hard knocks happening in your life. So just keep going, and I hope I can inspire you all. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
And Board of Trustees, I'd like to introduce you to Kurt Leuchter, who you might have well met in the last few years.
Possible.
Here to present a sabbatical report on behalf of his Department of Natural Resources. Kurt, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kurt Leuchter, Professor of Natural Resources in the Applied Science and Businesses Division. And I'm in my 21st year at COD. I'm very dedicated to the college. And all the projects I'm involved with, it seems they're all related to what I teach. So I really do try to represent the college well wherever I am, and whatever I'm doing. It seems to never end. But I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees, Dr. Kinnaman, the administration, my dean, the sabbatical committee, my colleagues, and the students for approving this sabbatical, which took place over the last 2 fall semesters. I split it up for a reason, so to not disrupt our teaching schedule. It's a lot easier for me to slip out in the fall than it is in the spring. So things went on very smoothly while I was gone, having split that up. So this sabbatical gave me the time. That was the most precious thing to me, to have the time to complete a lot of projects that were kind of on my table waiting to be worked on. So I really appreciate having that time to do a lot of different things. Now, my specialty is birds, as some of you know. But I also teach classes in bugs, entomology, and conservation, and native plants. But this particular project did revolve around birds, but as you'll see, I was involved in a lot of different things as well as that. So I do have a PowerPoint presentation to show you. You have copies of my post-sabbatical report, so all the details are in there. Normally, I'm used to speaking for about an hour on topics like this, but I won't today. Try to keep it short. It's getting late. But anyway, I want to give you just a rundown of some of the things I was involved with during my 2 fall semesters on sabbatical. So I always like to have a kind of a theme with my research something to keep me going. In this case, it was this bird called the scrub jay. So this was the excuse to travel to 11 different states and cover thousands of miles and use some of the equipment that I have from the college, which I'll show you in just a minute, to record the bird sounds, actually. So in case you don't know what a scrub jay is, there it is. When I started the sabbatical, there were 3 species of scrub jay. And when I ended my sabbatical, there's now 4 species of scrub jay. I wish I could take credit for that, but it was interesting timing on that, as you'll see. But maybe you've seen these birds. They occur in some of the very zones that Professor Nolan was just speaking about, where there's a lot of wildfire. They like those scrubby habitats that need to burn every now and then. So they all look generally like this, white and blue birds, kind of noisy. But there are different species, and one of the ways to tell them apart is also by their sound, as you'll see in a minute. So anyway, I had this equipment that I carried with me on planes, and I never checked it in my luggage because I couldn't afford to lose it. So I had to go through security with this stuff every time, and they're always asking me, they're always pulling me aside for special checks to examine this stuff. But I just couldn't afford to lose it because it had all those recordings on it. So prior to the sabbatical, I guess I wanted to mention, in preparation of the sabbatical, I did take a couple of classes in the High Sierra. One was on using this recording equipment, and another one on bird identification by song, which I got an A in. But one of the things the sabbatical enabled me to do is to go to Cornell University in New York during the fall semester, something I would never have been able to do except for having that time. So I was able to finally go there and attend this sound analysis workshop where we actually learned to take the recordings and analyze them with special software. It's called Raven software, which I now have on our computer at COD, and it's a lifetime license, so anybody who ever wants to use it can see me and have access to that Raven software. But with this software, you can make these things called spectrograms or sonograms, like you see on the right, to really analyze very closely a sound. So it's just like a DNA fingerprint of a sound. You've seen these things before, probably. But some of these birds sound so much alike that the only way to tell if they're really different or not is to analyze them more closely. So here's a close-up look at a scrub jay's call. The colors represent different intensities of sound over a very short period of time. So you can take these spectrograms and you can put them into your software, and you can analyze them. It's called a batch correlation. That's what this is here, this colorful chart. And you can compare, as you see on the left, there's a bunch of different scrub jays over there from different parts of the country. There's some from Redlands, some from Nevada, some from Colorado. And you can compare them to other scrub jays and see how closely related they are. And so you can spot things here that you can't hear with your own ear. So the areas where it's red and orange would be a very close match, and then the areas where it might be lighter in color, yellowish, are not as close. So you can do this all day long with the software and really analyze just thousands of these recordings and see who's related to who and who isn't related to who. And as you might expect, the further apart the populations are, the more different they tend to sound, just like people. So when I went to Florida, as you'll see, to record those birds, they sound a lot different than the birds in California, just like some of the people. And same with Texas.
Maybe they're imitating
Well,
us.
you know, southern drawl and everything like that. So, but it's the same thing with the birds. It's really interesting. So these ones that are here in the West all tend to sound very similar, but there are some differences that only the software can spot. So here's where the scrub jays occur. So this is where I was a lot of the time, traveling around these western states, and also in Florida, by the way. There's a separate population of scrub jays all the way over in Florida. And then I went to Washington for some meetings as well, as you'll see. So I visited over 24 different field sites. like every weekend, it seems like I was going somewhere to make some recordings and chase some scrub jays. But these are just some samples of some of the places I went in California. Maybe you recognize some of these places. Santa Cruz Island, Joshua Tree, Eaton Canyon, Paiute Ponds, which is on the Edwards Air Force Base, Mammoth. Even Sacramento, downtown, there's scrub jays. Went up there for a conference and was able to record scrub jays at the same time. Whitewater, these are all local places, Big Morongo, Anza-Borrego, Mojave, and also Yosemite. And more places a little further afield, headed up to Colorado for a couple field sites, Arizona, Great Basin National Park in Nevada, and Zion in Utah. And one of the most interesting places I visited twice was this very remote place in the Pine Nut Mountains of Nevada. Maybe you've never heard of the Pine Nut Mountains. I hadn't until this project, but everybody kept saying, you got to go to the Pine Nuts, you got to go to the Pine Nuts, because it's the only place where two of these subspecies come together and are known to occur together. So I really wanted to get one of those recordings to see what's going on there. Do they sound different? Do they sound like a mixture of the two? So that was very exciting to go there. I had no idea where to go, so I just had to follow my nose and go into the right habitat, this place in the lower right. And sure enough, I was able to find jays at 6 in the morning calling within an hour. Got kind of lucky. And then I also traveled as far as Florida one time because the Florida scrub jay, which only occurs in Florida, occurs there, and we definitely wanted to compare that with the others. My initial goal was to get a recording of every single subspecies of scrub jay, and I did succeed in that goal. So anyway, Florida had a lot of places that I went, and then Texas was the last stop I made. This was just last November. It was really cold. Below freezing. I wasn't sure if I was going to find jays in that temperature, but I was able to round up a couple of them at these places that you see here in central Texas in the middle of winter, or close to winter. And the Texas ones really did sound different than the other ones. They had kind of a 2-syllable twang to their call. Texas twang. So this is the new species of scrub jay that just was announced last July. In the midst of all of my studies, the American Ornithological Union announced that the Woodhouse's scrub jay is now a separate species. So these are the ones that I was chasing in Nevada, and Colorado, and Utah, and Arizona. They're now considered to be a separate species, and they do sound different, and you can hear for yourself in a second, than the ones in California, for example. And that's one of the reasons they split them. The other, of course, is DNA. That's the big reason. So I'll play one of those for you in a minute. A lot of museum visits along the way, over at least 14 that I counted, looking at dead scrub jays in drawers, and trying to compare how they looked. But this is what you got to do. And visiting with a lot of these museum curators who really know their birds. I even got to go to the bird banding laboratory in Patuxent Wildlife Refuge, where Rachel Carson actually worked when she was doing her DDT studies. So that was kind of neat. That's right outside Washington, D.C., a place called the Bird Banding Laboratory. And more museums, LA museums. Those are ivory-billed woodpeckers, which are extinct now. And Occidental College was a neat place to go in LA. They have a fantastic bird collection. They're famous for it. Went to the National Zoo in Washington, behind the scenes. Smithsonian, those are passenger pigeons and other extinct species. And spent time at research stations. These are places I got to stay at for more than just a day, and stay the night or stay for a few days, and really dig into the local scrub jays and other birds. And these are just some of the places that I was hanging out at. Up in the Sierras, out on Santa Cruz Island, in Arizona, Desert Studies Center, etc. So I made multiple visits to the Desert Studies Center in Zzyzx. You may recognize this. It's on the way to Las Vegas. You've probably seen the exit sign that says Zzyzx Road. It's a really neat place, and it's run by Cal State Fullerton. And you can go out there and take classes or conduct research and stay there. They have facilities. But anyway, it was a nice launching ground to record this one particular subspecies up in the Mojave National Preserve, just nearby. And another place I went a couple times is in Arizona, southeast Arizona, run by the American Museum of Natural History, another field station. And another world-famous field station's in Florida, so I had to go to Archbold Biological Station, where a lot of these scrub jay studies began back in the 1950s and 60s. And while I was there, I also was able to record an endangered species, the red cockaded woodpecker. We could play that one. Is there a way to... Do you have the mouse, or how do I play that? Yeah, let's see. You want to hear what a red cockaded woodpecker sounds like? Here we go. See if this works. Come on. I don't know how loud this is going to be. It's not loud at all. Anyway, it's a little low. We'll see if we can adjust that on the other slides. Here's the Florida scrub jay. A lot brighter than some of the others. Only found in Florida. This research station is in Mojave National Preserve, run by UC Riverside on the left. And then the one on the right is run by UC Santa Barbara, and that one's on Santa Cruz Island, one of the Channel Islands. And there's a scrub jay on Santa Cruz Island that's found nowhere else in the world. It's only on that island. So, of course, I had to go out there and record that one. And it's bigger, and it's bluer, and it's got a bigger beak than any of the others, and its sound is much more robust, too, as you'll hear. It's called the island scrub jay. And so here's the Channel Islands, which are a really neat place to go. And here's the island scrub jay. So let's see if this will work, Mike. See how loud this might be. You can kind of hear it.
Mm-hmm. You want it louder?
Yeah.
Let go of the mouse. Let go of the mouse.
Oh.
Let me take control.
He's got a real loud, kind of a raucous sound compared to the others, as you'll see. And this is typical of island birds. A lot of island species experience something called gigantism. Do I have control now?
Yeah, but you're not in presentation mode.
Oh. Sorry. Anyway, a lot of birds on islands are bigger than their mainland counterparts, and this is a good example of that. It's called gigantism. All right. It's loud.
Wow.
Anyway, we'll compare in a minute. Along the way, also developed and it was approved a new class at COD called Backyard Birds, because a lot of the people who take my classes, the bird classes, which are often at night and on the weekends, are retired folks from the community who want to learn more about birds in general. And so Backyard Birds is something people have been asking for. They want to know what's in the Coachella Valley. What can I see? So that class is now on the books and it'll be offered next fall. And I'm working on another one called Advanced Birding, so people can take it to another level if they want to. And all along the way, I had all this time that I didn't normally have, so I was able to give even more lectures than I normally do. So I was really busy just zipping around, giving lectures on birds and scrub jays and other things, and talking up COD at each one of these places. I'm sure you recognize a lot of them. But so I'm doing that a lot. And I attended a bunch of conferences during this time as well that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise. One in Washington, D.C., International Entomology Conference in Florida while I was there, and a couple of others. And a couple of CTE conferences as well. One in Vegas and one at San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly. And as I mentioned, that the one species, this is the new one, was split from the others during the end of the sabbatical last summer. So it's the Woodhouse's scrub jay. So here's the new Woodhouse's scrub jay, and the California scrub jay is the one on the lower. So you see the lower one is brighter blue. The upper one's kind of a paler blue color, and that's typical of interior species, not just birds, but things that are in the interior away from the coast tend to be duller than their coastal counterparts, and this is a good example of that. And they sound a little different, it turns out, too. Here's your typical California scrub jay that you might see just in the hills above Palm Desert. So it's very nasal.
That's right.
Now compare that to that island scrub jay. That one isn't nearly as nasal. It's very raucous, and it just sounds bigger, and it is. Here's the one from Florida. Very different. So you get the idea.
Very interesting.
So anyway, I could go on and on, but I just spent hours and hours listening to every scrub jay recording ever made, not just my own, but all the ones from Cornell. Listening for differences and putting them through the software. But we have to end now. So I also worked on a couple of field guides that I had created a few years ago and updated those during the sabbatical as well. And they also elected me vice president of the Western Field Ornithologists this year. So now I'm going to be really busy with this stuff. So thank you again for everything and for allowing me the time to complete this sabbatical. Any questions?
Is that one of the birds you banded, or did you not band it, or you found a bird?
That's just a bird that is banned. It's not one that I banded, but I ban birds just like that, yes, using the mist nets, yeah.
So are there no scrub jays between the Florida research station that you visited and the Texas area?
Exactly right.
So they're geographically isolated?
There's a big gap, just like mountain lions. You know, they got the Florida panthers, and then there's nothing, and
Yes.
then they show up again in Texas.
Right.
Yeah, Florida's got a lot of isolated things. Thank you.
Thank
you,
so
Kurt.
much.
One of the things, as we conclude with Kurt, that I wanted to thank him for is he's been working across departments and across schools and is not only doing his own important work across the whole valley, but he's been supporting the work at Roadrunner Farms. And he's part of the Salt and Sea project that we're hoping to get up and moving. So we're appreciative for all of the science work and then the innovation and interdisciplinarity. So thank you very much, Kurt.
Thanks. I do a lot of talks on the Salton Sea, so I'll continue to be able to do that further.
It's
Research
excellent.
center.
It's excellent.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt.
Absolutely great. Okay, so we had a motion and a second that we approve these post-sabbatical reports. We've heard the report, so is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries unanimously. The next item is item D, Human Resources. The initial proposal for reopener negotiations from the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 407 to the Desert Community College District. This next board agenda item is conducting a public hearing under the Educational Employment Relations Act regarding negotiation proposals. Today's public hearing is regarding the proposal for reopener negotiations from the California School Employees Association to the Desert Community College. Following the public hearing, the board will take action to acknowledge the CSEA's proposal. In accordance with Government Code Section 3547, all bargaining proposals are to be presented at the public meeting of a public school employer, and that is the purpose of today's hearing. Since today's hearing pertains to public hearings held prior to the opening of negotiations, it's not appropriate for, nor will members of the Board of Trustees comment on any of the initial negotiation proposals. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes per topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotted for public speakers on any one subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of the majority of the board, this time limits may be extended. So I get to get the gavel out? Okay. The Board of Trustees opens the public hearing for the initial proposal for reopener negotiations from the California School Employees Association to the Desert Community College District. Would speakers who wish to address this item please come forward and state their remarks? Yes, sir.
thank you to the board for receiving this particular item, and we have already set aside some dates, and so we're very much looking forward to this step in the process, which is appropriate for the public to have the opportunity to speak to you regarding this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any more speakers for this item? Seeing no other speakers, I thank you very much. Do I need to wait longer? They may be coming down the hall.
I don't know.
Okay.
Just in case.
Yes, I say you can sing the Jeopardy song. It's a good way to time things.
Excuse me.
I believe there are no additional speakers that wish to address the board on this proposal. I thank you very much, and I now close the public hearing. Now we move to take action on CSEA's proposal. It's the recommendation by the district that the Board of Trustees vote to acknowledge the reopener proposal from the CSEA. Is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Student Trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries 3-0, with the student trustee being affirmative. Didn't read my cue. The Board of Trustees hereby acknowledges the initial proposal for reopener negotiations from the California School Employees Association, and the parties may hereby commence negotiations. The next item comes under Administrative Services. Item number 1 is budget revisions. Do I have a motion to approve the budget revisions as presented?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or presentation or any discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. Student Trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous vote. Notice of intent to award contracts for the Palm Springs Modular Campus Project and the Mecca Thermal Expansion Lab Redesign Project. That's item number 2 under Administrative Services. Do I have a motion to approve the contracts for the Palm Springs Modular Campus Project and the Mecca Thermal Expansion Lab Redesign Projects as presented?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
A couple brief comments. Before you have 5 bid packages, and I just wanted to bring your attention to the fact that we, with the unemployment being so low, it is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a great thing that people are employed. It is a bad thing that there are many construction jobs out there. So we are seeing not only an increase in our bid prices, but also the number of companies responding to our bids is less. We have been active providing presentations at many of the trade shows to try and gain additional competition, because we know competition will drive those prices down. This is something that other colleges and school districts are also seeing, public agencies, increases of 20 to 40%
Wow.
in bid prices. So it's a difficult time right now. We are, this potential one, we're recommending award of the 5, but we have just recently rejected bid proposals that have come in too high, and we will be going out back to the market. So.
So, are there any questions or comments? I hear Bonnie about to make one.
No.
No? Okay. So I believe we're ready for vote. Student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the approved, I can't say this word anymore. Disposition and Development Agreement by and between the City of Indio and the Indio Housing Authority and the Desert Community College District. Do I have a motion to approve the Disposition and Development Agreement by and between the City of Indio and the Indio Housing Authority and the Desert Community College District as presented?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just brief comments on this. What you have included in the budget packet is a draft. We are about 95% of the way there. I was hoping that Carl Morgan from the City of Indio could be here this afternoon, but unfortunately he had a conflict. Waited as long as he could, and then unfortunately he's unavailable. We've been working diligently on this. As you know, this would be the agreement that would put in place the conditions to purchase the property just to our north. The agreement here, what this recommendation does is allow me acting as the agent to execute the agreement with minor changes. Should there be any material changes, it would come back to you as a new item.
Is there any discussion or any questions?
Just so we're oriented correctly. That way?
That way.
North. Did I
That
point
way.
the wrong way?
That way.
That
No,
way.
you
Yes,
pointed the
that
correct
way.
way.
So
That
you were
way.
pointing in a
That's
different way, and I went,
Oh, this way.
It's late.
that way?
That way.
All right.
That way. Sorry.
You got me confused.
Toward Highway 111 and the freeway, that way.
That's
No.
Highway 111.
Oh, that
Toward
now is
Yes.
officially, this is Indio Boulevard or Grapefruit
Yes,
Boulevard. or
toward Indio
whichever
Boulevard.
four names it has here.
Business 10.
Business 10, okay.
Business 10. That's what I've always called it, yeah.
So, any other discussion other than picking on me and Lisa? No.
Let's get going.
Student trustee Estrada?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
Now I'm happy.
Now you're happy, okay, yes, you should be very happy. So the next items are informational. Dr. Kinnaman?
Yes, each of these items are informational administrative procedures that have been reviewed at the College Planning Council and updated according to CCLC updates or any other types of minor revisions that needed to take place.
And these are administrative procedures, so we don't take a vote on them, but they are informational.
That is correct.
Next on our agenda is the study session, and Bert has been sitting there very
He
patiently.
has.
Is there any addition to the budget update that Vice President Howell gave us earlier?
Not at this time.
So, would you like to, Pamela, would you like to introduce Dr. Neri, whomever? Oh, yes, all the 14, yes.
Former faculty of the
Yay.
I'd like to say that sometimes people don't see kind of the work and dedication behind the scenes, but Bert has been, former faculty of the year, Bert Batanga, has been working on accreditation for, I think, nearly 4 to 5 years on several rounds, including a midterm report, a follow-up report, and some site visits. And this endeavor that he's going to give you an update on is about 2.5 years of meetings and timelines. And then I'd like to add that one thing Bert did, he created a very detailed timeline, which I'm sure he'd like to show you where we are at. But, and he held us to that timeline as the faculty accreditation liaison, so thank you.
That's very impressive.
Dr. Neri. I'd like to thank you all first for not putting me after
the two reports by my illustrious colleagues. Those were excellent reports, and I enjoyed them. So good afternoon, members of the Board of Trustees, President Killman, and members of the Executive Cabinet. On behalf of the Accreditation Committee, we want to thank you for this opportunity to provide a quick update on our accreditation progress. I've had the privilege to serve as a faculty co-chair, along with Dr. Neri, and a team that was structured and assembled to make the process of writing the self-evaluation report more manageable, transparent, and inclusive. Our accreditation team utilized a master timeline that was carefully crafted with all the steps involved in planning the daunting task of writing a comprehensive self-evaluation report and preparing for a site visit. The master timeline helped us to remain on schedule, to hold open meetings, meet important deadlines, and it constantly reminded us of the target date for the site visit, which is actually planned for October 2nd through the 5th. On April 27th, earlier this year, Dr. Neri sent out a notice via email to inform our college community that the completed institutional self-evaluation report was available online and that components of the report were currently with the Public Information Office for branding, formatting, and the creation of the printed document.
Bless you.
Bless you. We highly encourage you to visit our webpage to view the work the team's completed to this date. If I could have you take a look at the screen there, this is our webpage. And this is actually the draft of the self-study down here. And you can go through and look through each of the 4 standards. In this webpage here, part of the website, you can see all the different resources that we use, the timeline, our agendas and minutes, and there's a lot of other resources. If you want to read a 5,000 word essay, there's the quality focus essay, and then there's eligibility requirements that we're required to comply with ACCJC. And then also, I showed you the first newsletter in the first time I presented to the board, and there's been since a second newsletter that has been completed. In the upcoming months leading up to the site visit, a logistics team will convene to plan for the details necessary to facilitate the external team. Some of the major items to consider will be off-site accommodations for the external team, accommodations on-site for meeting room, workroom, lounge area, access to the portal, on-site transportation, and much more. We will most likely work throughout the summer and the beginning of fall semester to accomplish this task that will ensure an efficient, convenient, and favorable working condition for the external team to complete their task in evaluating our institution. As co-chairs of the accreditation team, Dr. Neri and I offer our deepest appreciation to everyone involved with the completion of the self-study report. Each of the standards were co-chaired by representatives from administration and Senate-appointed faculty, and each standard was accompanied by other constituent members of the college serving as valuable resources to their team. We want to especially acknowledge 4 individuals, Marilu Marujo, Sai Vang, Jeff Larson, and Rick Ronsley for their valuable contribution as accreditation team members. In closing, I'd just like to say that we are on this journey together. We collectively completed the institutional self-evaluation report, and it's been an honor and privilege to be a part of such an amazing team. And I really mean that. I mean, it was fairly smooth to complete the 500-page report. And And it's been such a privilege to be a part of such an amazing team, working on an important mission that will inevitably benefit our students, our surrounding communities, and our beloved institution. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments?
Well, I have a comment because I'm a trustee that I guess gets to help a little bit. I requested this. This is that beautiful document. And I want to say, I teach at a school and we have to do our own self-studies and all that stuff. But reading this was very clear, very easy to understand for me. And so I wanted to thank everyone that worked so hard on it because it clarifies things. And it's, like when I take home the WASC thing from my school, I shouldn't say this, but, they say make it bedtime reading. I take it to another room in the house sometimes. But this one I didn't. I sat down and I started reading it. And it's very well written, and I want to thank everybody for all their hours of work, because I know these things take hours and hours of reading and rereading and piecing things together and finding documentation and all. And this was very clear. And so I want to thank everybody that worked on it and for all their hard effort, their time, their dedication to this, because this is excellent.
Yes, thank you.
I give you an A.
Thank you.
And I did meet the person that's supposed to chair that visit in the fall. So
Good.
I'm hoping that he'll be as impressed as I was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, accreditation is ongoing. So I thank you so much for all the hard work and all those that were involved. It's the day that the team leaves, there'll be the next step in the process. But I
then
believe
the next report starts.
Yeah, then the next report starts, but I believe that we learn and we grow and we improve because of the good and hard work that you've done. So thank you so much, and thank you to all the other members of that group that worked on this report.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to also repeat the gratitude about Bert's work. He's he's a little odd. He actually likes this, and he starts. It's really kind of bizarre because he'll start presenting and talking to a group at college, and he gets all excited, and I'm like, that's not typical when people are working with accreditation standards, and so we're really fortunate to have somebody that enjoys it. And well, maybe do you still enjoy it?
My colleagues think I'm really weird, but I do. I don't know what it is about it. I guess it's just seeing the overall big picture of how the college is run, and it interests me very much.
Well, I know your enthusiasm comes out, and I think that must be it, because you see all the little pieces and the rationale and the basis for why the work's so important. But again, Bert and then Dr. Neri, her life has been this, and she, with the kids and with the pets and with the husband and with everything else, somehow she got them to leave her alone so that she could devote most of her time to this. So again, both of them have done just remarkable work. That's all.
It's amazing, and thank you so much, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bravo, yes. Dr. Kinnaman, do you have any additions to that wonderful celebration of success that you presented earlier?
I'm going to save the rest of my celebration for the adjournment of this meeting whenever the Madam Chair is prepared to do that.
There may be a little celebration at that point. Future agenda items, are there any future agenda items? Student trustee? Okay. And there's no closed session, I believe, that we need to reconvene to?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you so much. I need to state for the record that earlier when we opened this meeting, we thought that Mary Jane Sanchez Fulton would be with us because she had indicated that she would be to Julia, but she has not come. So it ended up being the 4 elected trustees and our wonderful student trustee. So thank you very much. Fred, would you do the honor of adjourning since this gentleman was your friend?
Thank you. It is with deep sadness that College of the Desert mourns the passing of Dr. Albert Karnick, President Emeritus of Cal State University, San Bernardino. The Board of Trustees would like to close today's meeting in his honor. Dr. Karnick was the president of Cal State San Bernardino from 1997 to 2012 and was instrumental in building the school's Palm Desert campus. That campus opened in 2002 and now serves more than 1,400 students, including many College of the Desert graduates. Dr. Karnick was an incredible leader of higher education in the Coachella Valley and San Bernardino area. We are honored by the commitment and support he provided for our college and for our community. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his loved ones and family. We will miss our friend, Dr. Karnick. Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. I'll pass it back to you.
Seeing no more business on our agenda, are there any objections to adjourning this meeting? Hearing no objections, this meeting is adjourned at 3:43. Thank you so much.